Bearded lawyer in velvet gown, whispers of law beneath the moon's sweet glow. He's here to guide you through the undertow, from tales of love lost and battles won, to secrets that hide when the day is done. He'll paint the night with stories so stark. Welcome to Family Law After Dark. Light up that cigar and pour a glass of red, as we wade through matters not often said, where hearts and minds often leave a mark. Dive deep into family law after dark. The lawyer's voice smooth like leather, he sings lies only he can tether. In the sultry jazz lounge, let the wisdom flow. Feel the rhythm in the late night glow. Through custody tangles and alimony strife, he navigates the drama of everyday life. With a wry wink and a cheeky remark, let's unravel family law after dark. Light up that cigar and pour a glass of red, as we wade through matters not often said, where hearts and minds often leave a mark. Dive deep into family law after dark. Light up that cigar and pour a glass of red, as we wade through matters not often said, where hearts and minds often leave a mark. Dive deep into family law after dark.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Damn it.
That's amazing.
Didn't make it back in time.
Oh. Good morning, folks. I am joined by the Schnitzel. I'm late to my own stream. Hey, welcome to the studio. Jocelyn, the skid of my new assistant, Melissa's replacement. Hey, are you hearing an echo? Is that me?
Yes.
Yep.
I think it started when you added the.
I think it was Dominic's fault.
There you
I'm
go.
not hearing it.
It
Okay.
was.
All right. So we're good now. Yeah. Welcome to the stage. Jocelyn, how old are you, man?
I am 26 years old.
You look like you're 12.
I do get that a lot.
But it's fair. Yeah, she's the replacement to Melissa, who was unceremoniously and decided to leave the greener pastures or redder pastures. Why does it got to be green? How do we even know it's green? It could be a rug for all we know. AstroTurf. At any rate, I'm joined by also the Schnitzel as a follow-up to our last stream. Hey, there he is. I was just getting ready to say we may be joined by Brad, but here he is in living color. And Bruce, who was recently retired from Oregon, the voice of reason in these kinds of shows. Now, look, we're doing a follow-up from last live stream where I was properly blitzed, man. I was probably
You were pretty
good.
hammered.
I was probably a good 0.13. We were doing it in the evening. I had a few double shots of whiskey over the course of 6 hours. It wasn't all at once, but it just I wanted to do a follow-up because we did this question where some young lady was asking for general legal advice, dating advice for women. Bruce said that I came in with some hot takes, and I was like, what did I even say? Like, what was my hot take? I think my hot take was,
Oh boy.
I think that women should probably wait a little bit if they're dating for marriage because, and Bruce was like, you can't generalize, you can't, but it's a general question. I wasn't asked a specific thing. I guess I got to clarify my official position on this one. I'm not saying that you could do whatever you want. You could sleep with whoever you want on the first date. I know success stories that came from one night stands or whatever. And look, it's a thing. I'm just saying my official advice on the matter would have been, had I had opportunity to flesh it out. I don't even remember what I said, but it would be just simply this. If you're going to date and you're of the age and you're wanting to consider marriage, I feel, maybe this is a hot take, that you should date selfishly. That you should date selfishly and discard what you don't want immediately and date for your own purposes, because there's going to come a point in time where you may meet somebody that causes you to want to give in a little bit. What does that mean? I don't know. But in my definition, it means somebody that you want to invest in, somebody where you're willing to take them into consideration over your own. Naturally, not because you think you have to, but naturally because you love that person. And if that happens, and you started off dating selfishly, it's a pretty good sign that it's something that you actually want, as opposed to something that you've idealized. How do you get there? My initial theory would have been, in general, it's probably a good idea to make them invest in you a little bit. I got a lot of hate in the comments for that comment. It's like, why do they got to invest in me? It's like, nobody has to invest in anybody. I'm just saying, if they do invest in you, let's just say that y'all went out and you went on a date and he didn't ask you to come back home, but he invited you on another date. That is a measure of patience that should be appreciated. You don't have to appreciate it, but it should be maybe a green flag. And then maybe if it doesn't happen again on the second date, or he doesn't try to force the issue. Look, shit happens, man. It could happen on the first or second by accident. Things happen. Adults are human beings. But ideally, if on the first date he's not trying to force you down a path because he's not trying to get what he wants out of you, just is interested in you, there's an investment there of time, invites you on the second date, and then nothing happens on the second date because he didn't try to force it and didn't happen spontaneously. By then, he's invested in you. At least for that amount of time, it's a good foundation to start things off if you're dating for the purpose of getting married. And if you're not, then do whatever you want. My general advice would have been essentially that, if I could have gotten it out the way that I wanted to get it out. There's a lot going on this show. I don't know. What do y'all think about that? Is that still a hot take?
It sounds like you're saying government mandated chastity belts with the government holding the key.
God damn it, Brad.
Where did Brad come from? What's happening?
No, actually, I think the investment thing is really an interesting topic. I don't take a lot of stock in the Whatever podcast, but they do produce really good shorts. And they had a guy recently on, and he was talking about things in the dating world. And the last point that he had mentioned was guys from a young age are taught how to talk to women. Women nowadays are being taught how they should expect to be talked to. But one of the things that isn't talked about is how women should be talking to men.
Yeah.
And it's a really interesting dynamic in how everyone expects conversations in dating pools to go. Because when you're being super restrictive on your dating life, you will naturally run yourself into this sandpaper experience, because if you're being overly exclusive, you're not going to be getting a lot of dates. If you're not getting a lot of dates, you're going to start developing more and more resentment because your standards are too high.
That's an important point you bring up, Brad. Yeah. I'll follow up on that, but I was curious about what Bruce had to think, because Bruce is the one that said I had the hot take. Like, Jesus.
Was
all
it
right.
for that question? I don't
remember, but you said something about Omar and his hot takes.
Oh boy.
What?
I don't really remember the details, but I think my radar goes up anytime there's sort of this generalization, and I prefer to sort of look at somebody's question on the face of it and give them specific advice rather than general advice.
Well, if it's a general question, though, what are you going to do?
And I feel like when you came in here today, you're like, here's my advice. If you're looking for this, my advice is do this. Now, that's fine.
I'm prefacing that because there was a question on the Reddit post from last week. Oh, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, I'll get to that later.
Well, the point is you just came in and said, here's my general advice. Take it or leave it. This is a little different than saying, here's my advice. And it's because of X, Y, Z and all these generalizations that people will refute with their personal experience. That's it.
I was not of sound mind, and the last time when I tried to offer that advice, I was all over the place. I don't know, Schnitzel, what do you think, man? I didn't mean to call you man.
You can call me man.
Individual.
All right.
I don't know. I think just I would say a generalization for me is just be yourself every time. And like
Yeah.
you are talking with somebody, I guess if you know that they have a sensitivity towards something or a certain subject, you can be sensitive to that. It's just like reading the situation as you're there, which I don't think you can necessarily like teach someone how to read all of those things. But for me, for example, I fall hard and fast in general, and I share a lot of stuff. I'm usually like, this is all my trauma up front. So you know what you're getting into.
Mhm.
If you like that, great. If you don't, then that's fine too. So like I had one person, we had been talking for it was over like FaceTime. It's kind of a long story, but anyway, then we finally met in person, and I shared more, once we were finally able to meet. And then he was divorced and had a child, someone I haven't talked about before. But anyway, he said that it was too much for him. And I was like, I'm sharing stuff about myself. And
Oh,
like
you sharing was too much for him?
yes, what I shared was too much. And but he wanted to be intimate. He wanted to like talk about, life things. And so for me, that wasn't a good fit for me, because I didn't feel like I could be myself if I couldn't share those things with him, or it was too much for him. I was like, dude, you have a fucking kid.
So you were just
I don't-
sharing without like asking him like for any kind of commitments or anything, just telling your story?
Yeah, just telling him what I've been through. Like, like abusive relationships I've been in the past. That was one thing that I mentioned. And I mean, I don't have like and no judgment to anyone who does, but I'm not like on medication. I haven't been like in the psych ward or anything like that. But it was just me sharing like my experiences. And again, no shade to anyone who's a dad with a kid, like a single dad with a kid. But I'm like,
I was that guy.
That right, and that's fine. And I dated a guy like that, but there are so many like and I don't call a kid baggage, but that that guy slept with that lady, the ex-wife or whoever the kid's mom is, that he
Presumably.
he had a life. Well, I knew with him, like he had a life with her. They bought their first home. He bought his first home together with her. He was at the hospital when she gave birth to the kid. Like they have had all of these life experiences together. And you're telling me that me sharing like my abusive relationships is too much for you, when me just knowing the fact that you have a kid implies all of this other stuff. So I thought that was pretty shit, and I ended things.
Well, I would agree. That's kind of a weird thing to say. Hey, you know what? Your story, fuck that. It's a bit much. I don't think I can handle it. That's a weird reaction to that. I'm just curious, like how that all came about.
Was it more because there's sometimes like you're working hard, you get off work, and somebody just starts flooding you with information in a conversation. It can be a little overwhelming.
Was it on first or
Opposed
second
to-
date, Schnitzel?
Well, it's kind of complicated because again, we lived in different cities. Then I was in a city for work close to where he lived. And so for about 5 weeks I was there. And and he came and visited me multiple times. So we had times where we like went to an art museum and it was just a date. We didn't really talk about much. Or one time he came up and we spent the night together, like in the hotel that he got. So it was not like a first or second date. And again, we've been talking for like at least 2 months before this, where I hadn't gotten too deep into things because it was just over the phone and I didn't know,
Do you think it might have been a thing where he was just like had a bad day and he was like, could we just be quiet for tonight? Because
no, I don't think so. Because it was after I left town and we were still talking after that. And then he was like, like I've been thinking about it and all the stuff you shared with me, it's just like a lot. Like you shared it with me really quickly.
He brought that
after
up later.
reflection.
Yeah, he brought it up later after I left. Yeah.
It's not like you ordered apps and then before the apps even hit the table, you're
Right.
here's my life story.
Here's all my drama. Yeah. So, but anyway, then, now I'm with someone who like appreciates that about me.
Yeah.
That, my openness and my, being forward about like things that have happened. So anyway, I know it may not be a direct response to your question you asked.
No, it is, because I think that, my thought was date selfishly. Your statement was just be yourself. I think that it takes a little bit of selfishness to be yourself from the
Yeah.
jump,
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Definitely.
which kind of it goes together with what I said. And so I think that does answer. Be yourself. Share who you are. Don't be afraid to share your baggage because it's going to come out at some point anyway. If you do that, more often than not, you end up in the right spot eventually. Hey, Jocelyn, what do you think about all of this, young lady?
I mean, I agree with what everyone has said, especially when it comes to dating selfishly, because for some people it might not come intuitively, right? They have like some people pleasing tendencies, or they'll try to compromise where they shouldn't, or they'll let people step all over them in terms of their boundaries and whatnot. So when you say date selfishly, it's like, it's such a simple term, but it actually means so much more when you're thinking about it.
I will posit another one, just speaking on what Brad had led off with about men having to learn how to talk to women and like being flooded with rejection in early life. Look, that's a whole experience. I bet Bruce and Brad and Dominic could all relate. Look, it's a whole thing that you got to learn. I could tell you the first time I ever asked out a girl. I'm going to share a story and I'm going to be real vulnerable. I don't give a shit. I've told the story before, but look, I'm being so vulnerable. I'm going to trauma dump right now. Totally. Look, man. So the first time I ever asked out a girl, no idea how to talk to women, man. I just thought this girl was pretty. I was a freshman in high school. It was in journalism class. And there was this girl that was a senior. I thought she was really hot. It's like, wow, that one. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like psyching myself up and I got like Eye of the Tiger playing in my head. And, I'm ramping up. It's like, I'm going to talk to this lady. And I go up to her after class, like, hey, could I talk to you for a minute? I just think that you're really pretty. I want you to be my girlfriend. What do you think of that? She's like, oh,
Wait, you
and I didn't
said
say it with that voice. I said something to that effect. And then she was like, what? She laughed. It's like, you're being serious? Oh, you
Was your
poor
voice
little boy.
changing at this time, or
I'm sure it was. It got
cracking.
deep really fast around that time. And so I'm sure it was maybe cracking a little
Wait,
bit.
you were a freshman and she was a senior?
Oh yeah, I had balls.
No, you're trying to shoot threes when you don't even do a free throw yet.
Man, I was doing the Steph Curry pullback over there. I was doing the whole thing, man.
Yeah.
I went for it. And then she like patted me. I don't know if she patted me on my head. My head, that's what she did. She's like, oh, you sweet boy. But you don't even know me. It's like, but I know you're pretty. So that's enough for me. And it didn't work out. I got shot down. But look, every guy goes through, hey, my sister's in. What's up, Ness?
What's up? Hi,
I
guys.
see your dog. I'm telling my story about how I got shot down in high school. When every guy goes through that awkward stage of learning how to talk to women. Like it takes years and years to perfect it. Like he's like, why do guys use lines? Because it's like a safe way to like, if it works out, then great. And if not, you can just laugh and pretend like you weren't being serious. I don't know. It's a defense mechanism for a lot of men. But talking to women does not come naturally, and men deal with a lot of rejection. And so if you give it up on the first date, especially with you, Jocelyn, young lady, men in their early 20s that have been dealing with that rejection, haven't processed it, if you make it easy for them, they're like, wow, that was easy. Let me try that again with somebody else. And, they got to get that out of their system. Guys that are older, they should have moved on from that thing. But you just got to be very careful when you're dealing with men that are still may or may not have had the opportunity to deal with the rejection in their life and whatever might come from that. They are learning how to communicate and talk, and communicate with women is a big thing because most young men who are young men sexualize women instead of humanize them. The humanizing doesn't come until after they've dealt with their own mental faux pas regarding that. What do you think, Bruce?
I agree.
All right. How about
All right. I've got a very similar story to you, Omar.
let's hear it.
I was all online dating. I didn't really do in person. I didn't do clubs or anything like that. And there was this one time while
I just am taking a moment to imagine you in a club.
you know that's the thing. So because I would wallflower, and then I'd see the one cute girl on the other side of the room, and she'd be dancing and all that, and then I would literally spend the entire night trying to psych myself up to go talk to her, and I never would.
Mhm.
That's the kind of guy I was. But back to this story. So I was in the military, and I saw this cute girl sitting by herself, and I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go talk to a woman, and then we'll see how things go. So I talked to her, and we ended up becoming friends, and then we became more than friends. And then she's like, yeah, I'm married, but things aren't really working out. And,
Damn.
Oh my god.
And I was like, oh, okay, well, things were still happening, and it was fine. And it's like, oh, well, he's now coming to live with me. And I was like, wait, you said you were on the outs with him, and now he's coming in, and then all this stuff. Yeah,
Uh-oh.
it got really messy, really
How
quick.
old were you, Brad, when this happened?
20, 21?
21.
Ed.
And you met her at a club?
No, that was in the military cafeteria. It wasn't. She
it
was
wasn't the
she was in a
military
different
club.
service.
No
So she
disco
didn't have
ball.
I don't even know. Can you wear jewelry in the service? Probably not, right?
Not in uniform. If you're out of your uniform, you could wear whatever.
Okay.
Hey, Bruce. You are the
Gosh.
senior of this bunch.
Oh, boy.
Do you have a story like that?
I don't know, not really. I mean,
Bruce
I
has
was
been
in a-
smooth all his life, man.
when I was in high school, it is nerve-wracking, right? So
Yeah.
I'm in high school and we're in, what is it, history class, and there was a group of like 3 or 4 of us that would sit in the back corner at the desks every history class, and we were kind of, the what do you call it? The bookworms or whatever.
Yeah.
And this lady was there, and I was kind of like, oh, like we're kind of as we're chatting through history class through the semester, I'm kind of like, how do I take this from history class to outside history class, right? And it's like, what do you do?
You want to study history in my dorm?
Yeah,
In my pants.
and
I got chocolate milk.
it was like I had to wait for this
No one's gotta be
moment
chocolate
where
milk.
we had an assignment. And we had to do a bunch of research. And I'm like, well, if you're going to go to the library and I'm going to go to the library, we could go to the library.
In your own private little booth. Like get one of
Like-
the booths in the library.
That's about as smooth as it was. I don't know.
Pretty smooth.
That was my note passing phase. Everything was about passing notes back then.
Oh
I don't know. I tried to take on a predatory mindset. Not that I was a predator, but it's like, okay,
I don't know
Your
if
eyes.
you want to voice that out loud.
Just, I wouldn't say that out loud.
I'm gonna pin her up against the wall.
what I mean by that was, it's like, look, it's a scary thing going up to talk to women. And so you had to psych yourself out, like eye of the tiger, man. And so I had to be like, okay, I'm just going to walk in like I'm a lion. I'm king of the jungle. And I'm just going to survey and go after the one that I want. And, it wouldn't always come out so awful. And sometimes it would work out, like not like in a grapey kind of a way.
But I think people, like women, I do think appreciate that confidence to a certain extent sometimes.
It was false confidence because you fake it until you're actually that confident.
But
Because
that's okay.
it's a scary
it can
thing.
appear as though it's not false.
Yeah, I would do like the mariachi thing. I would like say, "Hey, you want to dance?" It's like, "You like to dance? I'm a salsa master, bitch." I wouldn't call her like that. I say, "I could salsa dance." It didn't matter what you did. Just like take her on the dance floor, like do your thing, have fun. Just
I
have
won't-
fun, make her laugh, all of those things.
I will say Omar has some pretty good dance moves, guys.
Hell yeah!
He gets on the dance floor and it's pretty crazy. After
I
a
get
few drinks,
on-
of course.
After I'm lubricated, I will get on the
He's
dance
just-
floor. I'm gonna put on a
There's
show.
no stopping him.
Get out of my
I was
way.
asking to do
I'm doing
karaoke.
this.
We got to get Omar on the dance floor, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on a stream, a dance stream.
Oh, you just make it happen, man. You just do it. You make it happen. Your brain will know what to do. What were you saying, Mitch? I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, I cut you off.
Oh, well, how about that?
Sorry.
What do you think about this, Ness? Do you have any crazy stories like that?
Not yet. I'm still thinking, but what? Just
Oh my God!
confidence
It's like,
stories?
let me just say, let
Get
me
outta
just think
here.
about what I can actually
Hey,
say.
I'm coming in mid conversation. I'm still.
Yeah, but you've been alive your whole life, so
Shut up.
we really should be asking Dominic. Dominic is like in the heart of this. He's like 26. He's the same age as Jocelyn. Babyface Dominic over here, 255 pounds. What the hell? By the way, I weighed myself the other day. Effing 220, man. It's like, what the fuck? 220?
It's that mac
don't
and
make any
cheese.
sense.
That's what I want to be.
Oh, it's like I can't even, man. It's like for the first time ever, like, all right, I got to start doing some cardio or something.
Tell yourself it's muscle.
Okay,
I know
yeah.
muscle weighs heavier than fat, and so obviously I'm just jacked. What do you think, Dominic? You got any stories like that?
Wait, I want to say there may or may not be a video circulating of you stirring. your
Of me
food on your-
stirring?
food on your stove.
What?
What?
Oh, there's definitely, because I was making a roux,
Yeah.
butter and flour, and I was stirring
That
the roux, and then what does it look like I'm doing?
Stirring. But it's like your backside.
Oh my god,
Oh god.
I'm gonna
Way to
have to go
love your
search for
back.
it later.
I mean, it's on my channel, so it's not that hard to find.
Every time I come on Bruce's channel, not literally, or
What?
well, you know what I mean. Every time, I'm just saying, every time I go on Bruce's show, I'm getting attacked. He's like fact checking me in real time.
No,
Just like,
not
hey,
Bruce, Brad.
I'm on your
Brad.
show.
I know. Brad is like, hey, check out this article from DHSS. I'm like, oh shit, they're talking about immigration.
That's right.
Oh, I went
We'll
on
just
a
tell you,
VP
JD
debate
man.
show.
Do not talk,
Oh.
do not fact check me in the moment.
I'm like the
Dang.
anti JD fashion. I'm the least polished of all the rocks. I got all the jagged edges. Shit. All right. Well, now that we got introductions out of the way, are we done with the general advice for young ladies question? What about general advice for young men? I guess my general advice for young men is to walk in. Okay. If I was talking to my son, my imaginary son, because I'm a girl dad, this is what I would tell him. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how scared you are. It doesn't matter how nervous you are. Walk into the effing room like the mother effing jungle of the lion. Lion of the, you know what I meant. Lion of the jungle. All right, now I'm getting lubricated. Walk in there like you're,
have the confidence.
just walk in there like the lion. Everybody else is the prey. You see something you like, go and talk to her. She might like you, she might not. And if she doesn't, oh well. You got to take your lumps. The faster you get through the lumps, the better you get to the satin. So they say, the silk. Just like that. Don't be afraid to dance. Don't be afraid to sing. Don't be afraid to speak your mind. Don't be afraid to approach. Don't be afraid to open up mode of conversation. Don't be hindered by your thoughts of inadequacy. Just go after it. And the quicker you get there, then the quicker then you could either move on or move on to the better times. The task is on you. Nobody's coming up to you. Just know that. You got to make it happen. That's what I would tell young men. And then I would say this, like I've told Dominic, go and sow your wild oats, man. Go and sow the royal oats. Get it all out of your system. Because look, you gotta make it through some experiences in life. You don't want to walk into this like your first love and oh, she's everything, and you're putting her on a pedestal, and then like it's so like you're doing that so much, like it's cute at first, but then it starts getting weird after a while. Women start to resent it. You have to know your own self-worth.
Yes.
Become king of the jungle. If you can't do that and stand on your own 2 feet, then look, I don't want to generalize. I'm going to totally generalize right now. Gender roles mean something to human sexuality. And they mean many things to many different people. But on average, if you're a straight guy going after a straight woman, gender role means that they want to know that you can keep them safe. They got to feel safe with you, emotionally, physically, whatever. They just got to know
more
that you got
emotionally
it.
than physically because I think I can hold my own.
Oh, what do you think about that, Ness?
We love that. We love that. I'm with you on that one.
Nitsa will straight right you in the nose.
I am in
Well,
the CIA after all.
I mean,
shit.
the ninja stars are right there on the profile pic.
You see
They're,
it.
they're right
There's
there.
ninja stars. Hey, Josh, what do you think about that? What do you think about when a guy walks in the room like he's king of the jungle?
I think it's a great trait to have. I mean, you can apply that to any part of your life. Listening to you say, oh, this is the advice that we should give to men while dating, I think it should just be applied to everyone,
Yeah,
especially women
100%.
too. Yeah, because if we could just take away that barrier and make it so you have to go up to somebody, you have to show the initiative all the time, I think it would make dating a lot easier too.
I literally gave that advice to another lady that was about to give like the big speech or whatever, get on the witness stand or whatever. And I was like, just walk in there like you're the lion
Yeah.
and assess your surroundings. The judge is the judge. I'm right here. Everybody else is there. You're the lion. Everybody's interested in you. Go and do your thing. That's it. You can't show any fear. If you walk in with that mentality, I'm not going to say you're not going to be scared. You are, but you got to play the part. It's a role. And eventually you'll get used to it. And I'll tell you what, I used to be nervous when I would go in my court appearances. Oh, the judge is going to think I'm stupid. They're going to know that I'm retarded. They're going to know that I'm like a first year lawyer or whatever, second year. After a while, all of that dies down. You start walking in there enough and you're confident in yourself enough, even if you're faking it, you'll just take on that persona. And then people will respect you. Even if what you're saying is stupid, if you say it confidently enough, people will believe it, and it will buy you just enough time to adjust your argument when the time comes. But if you walk in there scared, nobody's going to take you serious. And that goes for professional life as much as it does for dating life. And that's all I got to say on that matter. What you think, Ness?
Take it till you make it. Yep.
Hell
Take it till
yeah.
you make it.
And
All
I
right.
hate to say, but I have to drop out now.
God damn it, Schnitzel.
I know. Life.
Well, it was a pleasure having you on for 30 minutes on Flad. Gosh, we didn't even get to a hypo.
But this is a good conversation.
We were having a good one. I liked it.
Yeah.
It was a
nice
lot.
to meet you, Ness and Jocelyn.
Nice to meet
Nice to
you.
meet
guys.
you.
Ness and Joss, the new ones.
Yeah,
We will
and
muddle
great
on
to
without
see
you
other
somehow,
three guys.
Schnitz.
Thanks. Have a great time.
Have a wonderful weekend.
Thanks, you too. Bye.
Yes, don't be cocky. I like that comment. It's just confidence is great until you're cocky, and then it's too much.
There's a difference between confidence and cocky.
Yes.
Cocky is just like flamboyant. It's too much. Like you're forcing it. You can't force it. You could be confident without saying a word.
100%.
You know? You don't
can
got
make-
to
yeah, exactly.
advertise your confidence. That's cocky.
I
Let
think there is
me,
one thing about the sowing your wild oats thing.
Do it.
Telling men to go sow your wild oats and then try and be picky about women having high body counts is counterintuitive.
I'm not picky about that. Who's picky
But-
about that?
But the idea is that guys will say, well, these women are all ran through and you can't trust them and all this other stuff. And it's like, well, if you're perpetuating the problem,
Could I be
of-
Dad Omar over here? Could I be Dad? Could I be the dad? Could I play the dad?
You're already dad, so go for it.
Bruce, he could be the dad too, because like he's older than me.
Oh boy, what did I do?
Hey, MG Law's in the house, man.
Oh yeah.
Who's Tug Simp? Tug Simp? Lioness is powerful in packs. I don't know what the fuck that means. I don't know what to say about that.
You were saying go in like a lion.
Oh,
and
I
we
did.
were
Yeah,
saying,
that was from
you
me.
know,
Yes.
someone goes in as a lioness. That's good too.
Yeah, be the lioness. Fuck yeah, do it, man. Look, it goes both ways. It's for all. It's not gender specific. But let me go into a user submission. Am I sharing my screen? I have a user submission for today's Vlad. All right, this lady, her name is Canna. I'm going to try to embiggen this as much as I can. All right. So she is, well, let's just call her Carrie. She's 42 years old, a woman from New Jersey, mother, 2 beautiful kids, 10-year-old little girl, 13-year-old little boy. In 2018, after being with my children's father for 11 years, we separated. We were never married. I went to family court at the time, filed my own paperwork to establish a parenting schedule, child support, etc. We were both represented, and my fear at that time was that since he was self-employed, this is going to be large on the legal, folks, just so you know, executing his own 1099s, that he would fudge his income and declare to the court that he wasn't making $200K a year. After all the courts allowed to temporarily take his word, since he hadn't filed his taxes for that year yet. The order stated that it would be recalculated after his taxes were filed. The day before we were to sit with the mediator, coincidence, watch this, he decided to come back and beg for forgiveness. Please don't put me on child support. I'll do anything. You're the light of my life. You're the most beautiful woman in the world. I'll cook, I'll clean. I'll be your bitch. And then, he's putting on that whole rigmarole.
I've heard of stories like that where the guy is making a ton of money and then ends up like quitting his job to try and say I'm unemployed. And
yeah, let me just tell, I'll just tell you that doesn't work. If you were to do something like that, it's always obvious to the courts what you did, and they will impute income based on what you were making before. Even if, like a dumbass, you quit your job for appearances. It's like, well, too bad. We're going to calculate support as if you were making $200K a year. So you'll be paying $3,500 a month or whatever the calculation comes out to. Secondly, let's just say you're trying to avoid income for purposes of support. The problem with that is you have expenses. And if your car is not being repoed and your house is not in foreclosure and your bills or your utilities have not been shut off, you're paying them somehow. And we get access and we could discover readily your bank statements and we could see the money coming in. And you really can't pay many of your expenses with cash. That shit has to be laundered. In other words, it has to be deposited somewhere. And so if your expenses are like $13,000 a month and you claim, well, I only make like $15 an hour. Okay, well, then how are you paying for this? And so they'll know. It's like, it's obvious. People think that they're smarter than that. We see this all the time. And so it's really easy to prove income, even if we can't find the specific income, because the tale will be told in your expenses. Oh, well, he has everything in a different name. It's like, okay, well, who's driving the car? Why is your car in your dad's name? Why is your house in your brother's name? Why is your utilities in your cousin's name? It doesn't make sense after a while. And so nobody is paying for all those things. It's going to become, there's ways to do it to prove income that you can't get away with it. If you have an attorney that knows what they're doing, it's really simple. And so it never bothers me when people try to do that. It just makes them look stupid when we address the issue in front of the judge. Anyway, so this lady says the order stated that it would be recalculated after his taxes were filed. The day before we were to sit with the mediator, he decided to come back, beg for forgiveness. And me like an estúpida. She said it like that. And me like an estúpida. I fell for it. For the sake of having my little family together and the children not come from a broken home, I decided to give it a chance. We still met with our counsel and the mediator. I agreed to do a basic court order. I should have told my attorney at the time that we had reconciled. Yeah, you really should have. And that I didn't want to go through it at all. I really wanted to believe that I would never have to adhere to the order because we moved back in together with our kids in a new town, fresh start. That is a very naive decision on your parts. And you're right. You really should have told your attorney that. Had you mentioned that to your attorney, they would not have made that order. Well, you guys are back together. Okay, well, I guess there's no need for an order.
I feel like once you have a attorney on retainer, your attorney is your new spouse, and you tell them everything, and you
have
don't
to
tell your spouse anything.
Why would you pay me a $7,500 retainer to not tell me everything about your case? That's stupid. That is beyond negligent on your part. Like, you're paying me to know everything. I can't share your secrets anyway. If y'all reconciled, then we're not setting orders unless it's something like you get full legal physical custody visitation at your discretion, something like that that's vague enough where you're not committed to something that doesn't make sense. But even then, it's like, okay, well, if you all are together, then what do you need a custody visitation order for? You don't. So you just dismiss it. And she's doing this on the basis of she really believed that she wanted to, this is going to work out and all. So after all, I had decided to give this man a second chance. I would have never thought this order would come 3 years later to haunt me in a way I had never imagined. I would come to find out after all these years, I was really dealing with a person who was narcissistic and selfish in every possible way. Fast forward to January of 21, we'd spent Christmas and New Year's together for the 4th year in our new home with the kids. The last week of January, he started to go out. Monday and Tuesday, he came home around 10 to 11. Oh, it gets real good right here. Wednesday and Thursday, he came around at 2 a.m. Friday, he just decided he's not coming home. There was never a sign or a clue that we were fine the week before. When I asked his whereabouts, he would say he was hanging out with our compadre after work, building our son's bike. I remember calling him on the Friday. He never came home, and asked him all the questions you ask when your partner doesn't come home. So to my surprise, by the following Monday, he had moved out. No warning, no heads up, nothing.
What?
And at first, he wanted to take everything, but after all, he only took all the TVs. Oh, that's bullshit. What do you mean he only took all the TVs? Hey, he couldn't just like leave her one? He took the PS5. Typical.
Okay.
His clothes, his belongings. He told me he had found a basement apartment and met all the requirements. And guess what? He wanted to start following that very same court order from years before that was never adhered to. See, the problem with that is in your situation, what I would do in California is file an ex parte motion to establish temporary orders based on the new situation, because the old orders were made under the caveat that they were not separated. Turns out they reconciled. And so the context of the old orders and the currently existing orders no longer apply. We're going to need temporary orders for this new situation 3 years after the fact. And the judge within a couple of days would have fixed it. That's what you should have done. Let's see what she actually did. So he told me he had found a basement apartment and met all the requirements. And guess what? He wanted to start following the court order. Okay. So he drained all the money from our accounts, leaving me high and dry to pay rent, bills, food, etc. Were they married?
No.
Never married.
No.
Oh shit.
But they said she said she was in New Jersey, common law would still apply.
Common law ain't going to do anything for him draining the accounts. They're not married, and so there's no community property here. If he had access to the accounts, presumably he had access to all the money. If it hasn't been established in a civil contract, he's under no obligation to give it back. But for some kind of equitable lawsuits that would allow for the return of at least half, maybe a Marvin claim. In California, they call them Marvin cases, where even if you weren't actually married, they will treat you guys as a married couple. If you guys had pulled all of your resources together and lived as if you were a married couple and presented yourself to the universe as if you were a married couple, for example, raising children together, living in a house together, sharing the bills together. At that point, under equitable principles, even though there's not an enforceable contract to say this, they'll state that, you know what, you're going to give her back half of that money, at the very least. Temporarily, until we figure out what to do with it. I don't know what the mechanism to do that would be in New Jersey, but in California, it's a Marvin claim. It's a famous case where Lee Marvin, who was this Hollywood mogul back in the day, had shacked up with this lady. They were never married. They were together for a period of years. After they broke up, she sued him for promises that he made to her that he would support her and that he would take care of her and all of these things, and that they should be treated as a married couple. And the court said, well, not in this case, but this is the circumstances under which we would support it. And those circumstances were essentially, you guys pulled your assets together, you guys were living together, you guys had children together, you guys were similarly had similar objectives that for life goals, building your lives together, etc. In other words, you weren't actually married, but you might as well have been. And so in the interest of equity or fairness, we're going to treat you guys as if you were married. That's the principles that we're talking about. Let me continue. So he drained all the money from the accounts. I also forgot to add that I had just taken disability from my job as court administrator. I hadn't even received my FMLA payments yet. Due to the order, I was forced to hand him over the kids for visitation as we agreed in that old order. Oh, Jesus Christ.
It keeps going.
It's a long one. So he requested having visitation almost immediately. And so since he had arranged getting a place for them, I agreed. Well, now she's fucked.
Jeez.
The move here would have been to file that emergency petition to create new temporary orders based on change of circumstance. It would have held water because otherwise we're being forced to adhere to orders that were made 3 years ago under a context that no longer applies. But now she's acquiesced to these old orders, so now they could apply because now you're creating a status quo. This is why you need family law attorneys. I don't know. Jesus. Anyway, I wasn't aware of all the lies he was saying and honestly just thought it was a place for him and temporary for the kids. When the kids returned from their visit, they stated that I knew where their dad was living. I replied that I didn't. They said, yes, Mom, you know the lady Dad is living with? Turns out he had moved in with a female family friend and her 2 kids. Through my kids' transparency, when they got home, I was able to start to put the pieces together because he was never man enough to sit me down and speak truth. He left like a thief in the night without talking or explanations. A few days later, I would find out by her ex-husband that my TVs were being mounted in her apartment, not the basement. See, he never moved into any basement. He moved right in with the family friend he was cheating on me with. As soon as I left, I contacted the court to get a modification of my old order. I want a child support issue resolved once and for all. Problem with doing that, there is no once and for all order for child support. It's always a fluid thing. I want a child support issue resolved, but a better parent. So she wanted a better parenting schedule. I hired new counsel, and he made sure to pony up with counsel as well. Although this time it wasn't about what was in the kid's best interest for him. He was coming after me personally. He purposely ignored motions, etc., forcing this case to be dragged out for years. About 6 months later, they married, and it would become a war with not just him, but with the wife as well. You see, she thought that because she had married him, she had gained this whole new entitlement to try to make every inch of this personal. My daughter was forced to sleep in the same room as her son. Why is that problematic, folks?
Oh boy.
Does anybody want to chime in? Anybody ever heard of the Madeline Soto case?
I literally
Yeah.
said it on mute.
That's what came to my mind. But yeah, now whenever I
All right. So when I contacted their dad, his exact words were that the kids loved sleeping together.
I bet they did.
I can tell you this. I've literally had cases involving this exact scenario with siblings sleeping together that were independency cases where they had to then be forcibly separated because of sexual assaults that were happening at the hands of siblings. Because they were like 10, 11, 12, 13, sleeping in the same bed, and shit happens. So this is that situation. She says, excuse me? How dare you put our daughter into a room with a male child, especially one she didn't even know? I have stepbrother. I have stories upon stories, but in an effort to get to the meat and potatoes of the advice I need, I have to move on. So after spending around $15,000 and a small amount of time with my attorney, the case was still not moving. I also felt like my attorney just charged me, but for example, wasn't filing motions to compel them to comply with the judge's orders of getting taxes from him. Finally had no choice but to continue this battle pro se. I had run out of savings. I hear the story all the time, man. If you have paid your attorney $15,000 and he hasn't filed shit, then demand to see a ledger of activities performed on your account. That money belongs in a trust. Assuming it's not a flat fee, explain $15,000 of legal charges. For example, my legal fee is $4.50 an hour. If I do work on your case, I bill you hourly. I have also a paralegal rate of $2.50 an hour. And so any work that we perform on your case goes in a ledger of activities where we say, okay, we responded to an email. We were on the phone with opposing counsel for an hour and a half. We did a motion to compel evidence. It took us 2.5 hours to do. We had to research this crazy legal issue that is a matter of first review. Anyway, we account for our time. $15,000 without filing anything seems really suspect. Usually when I don't file anything with my clients, their legal bills are less than $1,000 because literally all you've done is given them consults and maybe prepared stuff for filing, but not actually filed it yet. There's not been any court appearances. That's really suspect. So demand a ledger of activities for one.
Unless that lawyer is taking the other lawyer out to lunch every week and they're talking about things about your case, but not actually doing anything.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can think of them spending $15,000 and having zero progress.
Well, let's just say he's billing $500 an hour, $14,000 over 500. It's 28 hours of work. So get him to explain 28 hours of work to you.
You could still put all of that in a ledger and give it to the client.
That's what you're supposed to do on demand.
Oh, really?
If a client asks for it, you got to give it to them on demand.
When I had a lawyer, they just mailed me their statements.
They can do that. That's one way of doing it. But if, like, for example, you get a bill from them and you want to reconcile, they got to be able to do that right away because they are under the authority of the state bar of your state. And one of the things that they control is your attorney-client trust accounts. So all that money that goes in the trust account is not belong to the attorney. It's only goes to the attorney after work has been performed. So if you put 15,000 in there and he just withdrew the entire amount, put it into his account, he better have an accounting for it. Otherwise, he may be in a lot of trouble.
And as
So-
we've discussed in other cases, mishandling of your client's money is the number one case for getting disbarred.
Yeah.
But drugs and alcohol and DUIs and anything, they really don't care about that stuff. But you touch a client's money, you're going to get a book thrown at you.
Quickest way to get disbarred, honestly. And so I'm skeptical of what her former attorney did. Anyway, so she went on savings, doesn't have any money. He does have money, and he was either using it to bury me or to ask the judge to get parent time evaluations with a psychologist. That is just so over the top, man. We need a psychologist to figure out a parenting plan? Fuck off. Unless there's like a abuse or something. Unless there's like some crazy thing that's going on. For what? I attended the parent evaluations, and she provided the reports to the court 14 months after the fact. That's an excessive amount of time. Oh, and the taxes turned out he had finally filed 6 years of taxes all in one shot. When I reviewed the taxes, they seemed false. So I requested transcripts, which I never received. You don't want to go by the tax returns. You want to subpoena his bank statements, personal and business, and any other contractual relationship that he has with any bank within the entire world.
Would a forensic accountant cost less than a lawyer in this case?
No. It's going to be expensive if you have to do that, but it may be worth it. I mean, you're going to have to weigh whether or not it's worth it or not. I don't know. It's stupid to do that if the guy's like literally making $60,000 a year. But if he's making $200,000 a year, that might be worth it. It just depends on what the difference in support would be if you did that versus whether or not you didn't. But if he was indeed hiding income and he is indeed making $200,000 a year, in most states, you would be able to get an order where he's paying for your attorney fees anyway. So it might be worth a shot. It just depends on his ability to pay. So, I requested personal bank statements that I never received. Then you got to do a motion to compel the evidence. You can't just refuse those requests. If it's formal discovery and he's not providing you what you asked for, you could compel him to turn over the evidence. And if he fails to do so, he will be sanctioned by the court first. If he continues to fail to do so, then they'll just dismiss his case and they will rule in your favor anyway. So I contacted DCF regarding concerns with my daughter sleeping with a male child, and she didn't know, and it was denied, saying that it was okay as long as she slept in a different bed in the same room. That is beyond a negligent response. I hope that's not the response. So when court came around this past April 2024, we received equal parenting time. However, he didn't have to pay child support because he told the court he made less than I did. I had proof of my accusations that he made $200K, and I couldn't afford doing an audit on his books. I never received the things I requested as pro se. It was as though either the orders of the previous judge were ignored or I was ignored as a pro se mother. I don't think that, well, you can't ignore a person just because they're pro se. You did not file the proper motions is what happened. In this case, it would have been a motion to compel discovery, in which he would have been required to produce those items, and they would not have made a determination of the outcome until he complied with discovery. It would have delayed things, but it would have got you an order that was more akin to what you should have got. So 5 months later, it's obvious by his lifestyle that he makes what I know he makes. Remember what I said about the expenses thing? He took his family and 4 kids on a $35,000 trip to Disney. He has money for cars, motorcycles, you name it. However, that's what he told the courts he makes in 1 year. On top of all that, my case should have been transferred to the county we reside in, and I was thinking of requesting additional modifications. Lady, you're thinking too much. Look, this is simple. It's already been adjudicated, but because support is always a fluid thing, if you have evidence that he's making all of this money and he has all these expenses, then what you have to do is refile for a further modification based on what you suspect is additional income that wasn't contemplated under the original orders and get the court to adjust the orders based on what he's properly making. Oh, but he told the courts that he's only making so much. Okay, but he's, like you said, taking $35,000 trips to Disney. I guess my question would be, how do you know that? But he has cars, motorcycles, you name it. You're welcome to discover every contract that he's ever initiated at the hands of a car dealership, motorcycle dealership, all of those things. If you have pictures that he owns those things, he's going to have to account for them one way or the other. And, oh, no fair him saying, well, it's in my new wife's name. Bullshit. Because courts see right through that. All that takes is a short cause trial to adjudicate those issues. I apologize if I'm getting all lawyerly right now, but that's like the only way to answer this question.
It's good though. It's good for anyone watching who might find themselves in a similar situation.
Yeah. So she says, I was thinking of requesting additional modifications such as reevaluating child support. You should. I truly make $40K a year as a court administrator. I love my job. I love what I do. However, due to inflation, price hikes, and I'm struggling, and I am now looking for another job. As far as him on a romantic level, hey, stop right there. Him on a romantic level to you is dead. What are you asking me about that for? On what stage is that relevant? I should probably read what she was going to say. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
What was that? Whose voice was that?
Me.
Oh, Jesus. You sounded like a bat. I don't know what a bat sounds like, but you sounded
I
like
don't know,
one.
me either.
All right. I'm not interested anyway. After he left, my goal was to show my son that you do not treat anyone like this. I wanted to show my daughter that you never allow anyone to treat you like this. I went to counseling where I learned that what narcissism is. Look, who gives a shit about any of that? I don't care if he's a narcissist or not. You have real legal arguments that have nothing to do with anything you're about to tell me. The answer to your questions is to take him back to court, get an actual modification, conduct real financial discovery, and get the support adjusted. If he really has all of those expenses, it should be easily discovered and you'll get what you're looking for, including probably maybe a reevaluation of custody and visitation based on the circumstances that you said. Now, look, you can't just start throwing around accusations that your daughter is in danger. You're going to have real evidence of that. So don't just start throwing that one around. But it is worth a discussion for sure. You just got to start the proceedings. All right.
We don't even know what the question is yet.
I feel like I've been answering like a dozen different questions. And so I'm just ticking them off as I need to get lubricated. Give me 1 second.
Oh, boy.
All right.
Within arm's reach, of course.
We're going with Elijah Craig today, bottom shelf. I do not recommend this whiskey other than I bought this for Dominic because he likes to mix his whiskeys. Hey, Jocelyn, would you like a drink?
Only if it's mixed.
Oh my God. You know what? Hey, y'all, tell me a story. I'm going to make Jocelyn a drink.
It's today.
You gotta get that 1792. Jocelyn, this is your test. Go.
It's my test.
You gotta find a bottle of 1792 small batch and try it. It is
By itself?
by itself. It is cheap and it is really good to drink neat.
Interesting. Yeah.
1792.
I don't have much
1792
experience
small
with
batch.
whiskey, unfortunately.
It's a bourbon. It's so all bourbons are whiskey, but not all whiskeys are bourbons. So
That's somehow more confusing.
it's like all rectangles are squares, but not all squares are rectangles. Or that
I think
basic concept.
it's the other way around.
It's the other way around. Yeah. All squares are rectangles, not all rectangles are squares. Yeah.
Did my brother ask if Dominic's vagina was sore?
Oh, no. Well,
Apparently he
not
did.
today, but every other day,
Probably.
sure.
That's probably what he said. Is he pouring Dominic a drink?
All right,
right now?
Jocelyn, here you go.
Thank you.
Oh,
Lubricate yourself. Bathe yourselves in the waters of Lake Minnetonka.
Did you hear what I said, Omar?
What'd you say?
You got to get a bottle of 1792 small batch. It's cheap. It's like
I've had that
35
before.
bucks.
It's a mixing whiskey.
It's not a mixing whiskey. You
Yes.
can drink it neat
You can, but why?
because it's good and it's got that sweetness that other people who are not as connoisseurs of bourbons would enjoy.
You know what I'm high on right now? Redbreast 12. It is delightful, man. It is delicious. I highly recommend it. Anyway, I got to get back to business, man. I'm at work. It's supposed to be flat, and I'm like giving like a consult, a full-on consult here. All right. So, hey, did you know, Omar, that at 39 years old, as I was asking a grown man if he could please unlock the TV so that I can watch it, at 8 p.m., the TV would turn off, and it didn't turn back on until 8 in the morning? How?
Could be parental controls.
He didn't give me the access to unlock these. Didn't buy a new TV. I mean, not that you should buy it. Yes, he's a dick for doing that. But what is that about? He wouldn't give me the access to unlock these features. His reply was, "You aren't going to ruin my TV." Get the fuck out of here with this guy.
Yeah.
I have to clarify. Is this TV in her house?
Yeah, I thought he took all the TVs.
I think she's talking about when they were together. So when she finally went to therapy, she learned about these things from when they were together.
Oh, I missed a bunch of stuff. I skipped over a bunch. I apologize.
That's why we're here.
Yes. So my goal was to show my son that you do not treat anyone like this. Okay, so I went to counseling where I learned what narcissism is. I also finally understood that just because you aren't beaten, it doesn't mean it's not abuse. That's 100% true. He would verbally, emotionally abuse me. He would financially abuse me. He would take all my payroll checks for bills, as he said. You know what that is? That is a huge red flag. Not just that you're being abused, but that you may be in danger. I cannot stress it enough. I've been doing this long enough that if you're being financially abused like that, you are 100% in danger. You're not safe with that, man. Mm-hmm. One of the key indicators of domestic violence is if you're being financially abused. That is a measure of control that goes well beyond what is required. And if they're doing that and they're getting away with that, it might not be today. It might not be in a month, but somewhere down the road, you're going to get your ass beat down. Maybe worse. It's like one of the biggest red flags that I see in my cases, in these domestic violence cases. I just want you to know that. And so I'm glad that you're not with him. Parental controls, I get it. So at 8 p.m. the TV would turn off. Okay. I would go grocery shopping. I would get to check out and I would have to call him to tell him what the total was. And only then
Yikes.
he would zell me the exact total on the screen. Or how about his parents having access to our home and coming in whenever they wanted at whatever hours of the day without warning? The list goes on and on. So in a way, his cheating was ultimately a blessing in disguise for me. Yeah. However, I do believe that my children deserve what they deserve. It's not like I'm trying to get milk from a barren cow. I only would like for justice to be served. How can you file 6 years worth of taxes on? Ignore that. Who gives a shit about that? What the courts are concerned about is what he's made over the last 12 months. So he's going on these trips. He's got all these new expenses. He's got all these new play toys. Then discover his expenses. That's the key to what he's actually making. And impute income. If you know for a fact he was making $200,000 and now he's claiming to make substantially less, he's going to have to explain to the courts why that is. And if his response is not satisfactory, like he's on disability or something, or he's got some kind of an illness, then the courts just might impute income at the amount commensurate with what he was making at his peak. That would give you the proper amount of child support that you deserve, that your children deserve. Also, why were you avoiding? Ignore. Who cares? It doesn't matter. I've given you the path to the yellow brick road. You have to impute. You have to file a motion for modification. You should maybe do a modification of child custody and visitation based on your concerns regarding your daughter's safety, insofar as that she is being forced to sleep in the same room with a non-blood relative who happens to be going through puberty. That's something that should be looked at. She says, I hope we can discuss this one. I look forward to hearing back from you. Well, now that we've done all of that. And then she says, in Laura Owens fashion, LOL. All the best. All right. What do y'all think of that?
Oof.
I've just described that. That's like a normal consult from. I get this on a daily basis. I
Really?
do this for a living. This is a daily thing.
Yeah.
Hopefully it
I
doesn't take as long.
Jocelyn, oh, it takes a lot longer than that. I did the expedited version. Jocelyn, you don't know it yet, but this is going to be your daily life
Yep.
until you either quit or move on or whatever. But might as well get used to it now.
Very complicated.
Let me just say this: if a man is seeking to control your paycheck like that, you're either going to get your ass beat or you're going to be murdered. And I'm not joking. That's what's going to happen. In all of these cases, that's like one of the biggest red flags. Parental controls on the television. Look, people throw around the word narcissism or not. I don't know what you described as narcissism, but what it is a high level of male insecurity that leads to these controlling situations that are just unnecessary. It's treating you like a possession, not as a partner. That's no way to have a marriage. No way to have a relationship. And that's why I do this show. And that is why family law attorneys do this shit. I don't know if family law attorneys do. I do it because in the course of being a family law attorney for 10 years now, I run across these cases. You learn a thing or two about relationship dynamics. And oftentimes we're forced to be the voice of reason in relationships going awry. There's another family law attorney that does this. I really don't like him. I think he's a douchebag. He's older. He gives this advice like this. I think y'all know who I'm talking about.
Be nice to Legal Eagle.
No, that guy's awesome. I love the Legal Eagle. But he's like this divorce attorney. He's out in New York and he like gives this advice on TikTok or whatever. I really don't like him because he gives like these canned responses and it's like so disingenuous. Also, he's kind of slimy. Some of y'all might like him.
I've never heard of him. I keep getting Mike Raffi out of Georgia, who's a personal injury attorney.
Don't know who he is, but good on him. I'm just saying on the Family Law After Dark show with the Tilted Lawyer and crew and everybody else, you're going to get this kind of advice because these are the cases that I get every day. So that's what I have to say to you, young lady. I hope that you find peace in that. Look, here's the move. File a motion for modification of support immediately. And attached to that motion should be your request for special interrogatories regarding his finances and request for production of documents regarding his finances and request for admissions. Admit that you bought a car. Admit that you took a $35,000 trip. Admit that you did all of these things. And then he's going to say, oh, well, my spouse is supporting me. Well, fucking prove it. I didn't mean to see the F word. Prove it then. Subpoena his bank records. Subpoena her bank records to the extent that you think that he is filtering money from his paychecks into her bank accounts to hide assets, especially if he has a history of making that much money. It should be really easy to prove. That's a really easy cross-examination. That is the kind of case that I love doing because I'm going to kick your ass in court. I'm going to get all the receipts. I have all of the bank statements. I got all of your expenditures. I got it all. It's my favorite cross-examination to do. Okay, so, sir, you make $18 an hour, correct? Yeah. You've been making $18 an hour for 18 months or so? Yeah. And $18 a month, what is that? Roughly $38,000 a year? Yes, sir. Okay, now recently you just purchased a vehicle, a Lexus, whatever, expensive model.
2020
I did.
Lexus.
Yeah, but it's under my wife's name. Okay, so what does your wife do? Well, she works as a receptionist at a Lexington reception. I'm making up companies. All right, and what does her pay? Well, she makes $22 an hour. And what are the car payments on that vehicle? Whatever it is. I'm holding here what's been previously marked as Exhibit 102. Do you recognize this document? Yes, I do. What is this document called? Well, it happens to be a purchase agreement of a Lexus. Okay, on this payment, it says that the total cost of the vehicle is $104,000. Is that correct? That's what it says. In that this document, it says that you put down $28,000 on the vehicle. True? Yes. Isn't it true that that would encompass 85% of your total yearly salary if we're to believe that you only make $34,000 a year? If that's the math, I guess. Okay, and your monthly payments are $1,400 a month? Yes, sir. Okay, but your weekly paycheck is like $800 a month, correct? Yes. And your wife's weekly paycheck, if she's only making $22 an hour, is something like $950 a week, correct? Yes. Okay, so at $1,400 a month, your what did I say? 800 and her 1,400. You're making $3,200 a month, and half of that is going to the car payment, correct? Yes. What are your other expenditures? And we go through this whole line. You got to break it down like we're five. Explain to me how you're only bringing in this level of income and you have all of these expenditures. And we get to the bottom of it. More often than not, like 99% of the time, the expenditures are vastly greater than your income. And then we end up imputing income anyway. There's a way to do it. You just got to break it down. The only way you're going to get there is through financial discovery. You're not going to have the ability to conduct financial discovery unless you request a modification. And attached to that modification should be a modification of custody and visitation based on your concerns over the safety of your daughter and the new living arrangements that you had no idea were a thing. What do you think of that?
If you think something is happening in that room, get a rape kit done.
Yeah, but you have to be careful because you cannot make false allegations. You cannot just say, okay, well, I think that the dad is abusing the kid. Why do you think that? Well, because she said that, I don't know, he gave her a towel to dry off and when she took a bath or whatever.
Right, but if
sexual assault. If you do that.
If she's 13 and shows signs of regular continual sexual activity, that's a
big stretch because she's not going to show signs of regular sexual activity. And the only way you're going to get that evidence is if you have medical evidence as such, and you're not going to have the medical evidence unless you have a reason to have the medical evidence, especially because she's a minor. And that would have to be the direct result of a sexual assault that may or may not have occurred.
Which is why it would be worthwhile to consult a gynecologist or get a rape kit done just to be able to show if any of those things would exist. Not imputing the person for rape, but just getting the evidence that would normally be done in the course of business for rape.
But you got to be careful because if the rape kit comes back under the auspice of an allegation of rape and there's no evidence to support it, then you are in danger of making a frivolous sexual assault allegation that may lose you custody altogether of your child.
When you say allegation, is this an allegation in a court filing or just in the
It would have to be in a court filing, yes. So you got to be very careful about what you're throwing. You can't just say that. You just got to say, look, I got these concerns because my daughter's 13, sleeping in the same room as a 13-year-old boy, and that's bullshit. And my daughter has said some offhanded things. I'm concerned. I don't think that that's an appropriate environment for a young lady to have to live through. And I think that she'd be better served having her own space. He can't provide it, but I can. Let's adjust the custody order. Now, if it comes to light that there's actual evidence of things, stuff will happen, but you cannot just jump from the jump like Laura Owens. Hey, I got a false HCG test. Well, I got an HCG test. I'm pregnant. Paternity petition, child support, parenting plan, because then you'll end up owing the other party $150,000 for your frivolous petition, right? The way that it works in a custody arrangement, if you file a frivolous allegation like that, is you may lose custody of your child. So you got to be very careful. So I'm not saying that you don't have concerns. I'm just saying that you got to go about it the right way and ask the right questions and make sure that your petition is geared towards child safety without outright accusing anybody without actual tangible evidence.
Well, talk to your daughter too, and
that could be a thing.
She's comfortable, and if anything has occurred, because
what do you think the defense would be to that?
They're going to say that you coached her into saying certain things in order to try and destroy the relationship between her and her father,
which would speak to 3027B1, which is parental alienation, coaching the child on a false, frivolous essay allegation. You lose custody. Got to be very careful. These cases are very touchy, man. You just got to be very careful. Look, I'm hard on the evidence and what you're suggesting, because people that do it incorrectly end up losing custody of their children to people that are actually putting them in danger. And because you didn't go about it the right way, now your children is actually in danger, and you end up with a Madeline Soto situation.
And then the
because-
rape kit is only for the last, what? Rape kits are like 24, 72 hours.
Yeah.
That's- so
It
would
has to
have
happen right away. Now, you could detect vaginal injuries for some measure of time afterwards, but look, you can't throw around allegations because you think that potentially something might happen.
Yeah.
You could expose the possibility for something to happen, but to allege it outright, you got to be very careful with that because really bad things could happen if you're wrong. That is all. And mind you, there are actual people out there that will perpetuate these allegations to get the upper hand in child custody and litigation, to specifically keep the other parent away from their child. And that's the reason why we have these laws. So it sucks to be a family law attorney. This is what we deal with. These are the rules. These are the consequences. These are the stakes.
I'll tell you what, a story from my childhood. My parents divorced when I was 6 or 7. And I remember I had to go into a conference with some mediator of some kind and get interviewed and asked a bunch of questions. And I remember I don't remember the scope and scale of the questions, but I remember my dad asking me, did they ask you how much you want to be with your dad? And I was like, yeah. He said, I want to be with him a lot. And he goes, and he wanted me to be able to say certain things in order to help ensure that he got more custody because he was the one with the income. And my mom, who ended up going on Section 8 housing and all these other things, got custody because that's how the system works. So it is look, these cases suck. I think that we should move on to a lighter subject matter. How about that? It's Friday. What the fuck? What are we doing? I actually need to go because I need to do my walk-in with Brad. So,
God damn it, Brad. All right. Well, we love you anyway.
I appreciate it. Thank you for the invite.
All right, sir. We will muddle on without you. All right. Let us move on. How about that? Let's move on to a more fun topic. Do y'all want to talk about a guy wanted to break up with his girlfriend because she went to an after party without him? Let's do that one. All right, we'll take these in order. We'll take these in order. So let me share my screen. And let's do this. This is a Reddit submission. This person wants to know, am I the asshole for breaking up with and kicking my girlfriend out because she went to an after party without me? Oh, see, this is what happens when I'm too business minded. Like I go on these long legal rants. We don't have as much fun. What do you think about, just right off the bat, Jocelyn?
Yeah.
What would your initial instinct be to tell this guy?
Well, I would say it depends. What's wrong with her going to an after party without him?
What kind of after party was it?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what did it entail? What did she do? Were there specific people there?
Well, they're 24 and 23, so
you would assume something went down.
I'm not envisioning wedding bells between these two, and it happened in college. So, let's
Sounds
get
like
into
he's
that.
insecure.
Yeah, from the get-go.
Yeah, but what young 20-year-old is not insecure? You know.
He says they began dating in college.
Hey, at what age do women stop being insecure? Riddle me that, Batman. Jocelyn, Ness.
I
Let's say
mean,
you
at
do
what
that.
age do men stop being insecure?
Yeah.
We
30.
don't.
Then maybe the same for women. 30.
I stopped giving a shit at 30.
I gotta wait till I get there. Then I'll let you know.
So she's still in it. What about you, Bruce? You strike me as a guy that's not been concerned with that for a long time.
Concerned with what?
Insecurities.
I mean, I don't know. It depends on the details. I'm a details guy. I need the details. Every case is different.
You got to take yourself out of like.
I don't look at myself and say like I'm insecure or I'm secure. I look at like what is this situation?
That's a mature way to look about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess
don't
what I'm
think
talking about.
anyone stops being insecure.
That's true. Yeah.
But what you have to stop being is like, oh, I haven't seen my girlfriend for 15 minutes. She's definitely talking to Bruce down the road.
What?
Antlers.
Sending the rooster over.
Showing her his rooster.
Yeah. Thing I can do. Oh boy.
All right, so this guy is 24 years old. He's a baby. My girlfriend is 23. Her name is Anne. They began dating in college. So last week, Anne invited me to her coworker party. I had heard a lot about him in the. Is my screen up? Yeah.
Yes.
I had heard a lot about him in the past, and he and she really seemed to have a lot in common. Oh, Joe. Especially with their taste in music.
Oh boy.
Oh, they bonded over electronic EDM music and bondage. I'm so jealous. I wish I could relate to her on that level.
If only.
Why don't you have a Truly and shut the F up? How about that? We'll give him a wine cooler, some cream for his vag. All right, I'm being harsh. I'm too lubricated right now. Somebody calm me down. Bruce, you got to be the voice of reason.
We
when
gotta
I
get to the question, Omar. We gotta
I
get to
know.
the question.
I need you guys to keep me going, man. All right. All right. Apparently, he was an amateur musician with a fairly successful YouTube channel. So he's over there with like long-haired Fabio on the fiddle.
Relax.
Yeah. Jocelyn, do you even know who Fabio is?
Nope.
Oh my God.
No idea.
Aquaman? He's over there with Aquaman on the fiddle.
Nope.
You don't know who Aquaman is?
I mean, yeah, but not with Fabio, not with that name, no.
Fabio's like a
Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa. You know who he is?
That's yeah, I know that
All right.
one.
So
Yeah.
he's picturing Jason Momoa playing the harp or something.
Yeah,
The harpsichord,
that's
the
Joe.
saxophone.
It's a good image.
Joe
Yeah,
Momoa. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, careless whispers and all of that.
Look,
Right?
mom's in here. She said to calm your roll.
Are you sure she didn't say "shut your hole"?
Oh boy.
That's my mom's thing. Anyway, so amateur musician. Joe initially invited only Anne. Of course he did. He's trying to bang your girlfriend. What say you to that, sir? What you gonna do about it?
He initially only invited her to this party.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a party.
That's not. That is a one-on-one consultation with her.
Real.
But when she asked him if I could tag along, he said it was fine. Oh, he's gonna cuck you, man. He's gonna. I'm telling you. Let me just tell you, he's not concerned about you. He's so unimpressed.
Oh, no.
Or it could be completely like innocent. Maybe he's gay. You never know. Oh, I didn't know you had a boyfriend. Bring him along. Bring your
wait,
mom. Bring your
okay.
grandma.
This is why we got to read the whole thing. This was a party with 30 people.
Yes, it was.
We gotta
Okay,
read the
let me get to that part. The party was on Saturday evening. It was a fun party with about 30 people held at a restaurant Joe had rented out. So towards the end, though, I wandered into Anne's little discussion group, and I immediately got the feeling that nobody really wanted me there. Most of all, Anne. It was her, Joe, and a few other people. Thinking that I was just imagining things, I hung around, listened to Joe basically boast about himself the whole time. All right. A little while later, I wandered off to get myself a drink and chat with a few other people. Eventually, the time to leave came around, and I went to find Anne again. Joe approached me at that point and said he was having an after party over at his house. I was going to refuse, but then he said, "Sorry, man, but only Anne is invited." Oh, shit.
Straight up. Ooh.
This is the lion mentality, man.
Oh my
Now, I didn't mean to use it for these purposes, but that's basically the lion mentality. Hey, your girlfriend's coming with me, bitch. What you gonna do about it?
Oh no.
Yeah.
This is when you need the ninja throwing stars.
I don't know. Ness, am I off? Jocelyn, am I off?
No, that's straight up fighting words, if you
Yeah.
ask me.
Now, okay, under this context, if Anne goes with Joe, is that grounds for breaking up?
That's definitely grounds for an argument. That's even for breaking up too.
Let
Yeah.
me just ask you a different question. It's over between her and her boyfriend, right? Like she's
if
not.
she walks away with him, knowing that he said that to the boyfriend, yeah, yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
You lost, bro.
Yeah.
You lost.
Because you're just showing
She's-
that you're okay with someone disrespecting your
Yeah.
relationship.
You lost. You've been defeated. Get your ass in the gym. Move on.
Yep.
Dry your tears on these antlers. And
Lawyer up, hit the gym,
well-
delete Facebook.
yeah, just hey, take the L and move on. All right. So eventually the time to leave came around. What did I skip over? Oh, Yeah. Well, sorry, man, but only Annie's invited. While clapping me on the shoulder.
Oh dear.
I first told him, "Look, I want to say that that's something that I would have done, but I'm not that cool." I first told him not to touch me. Oh, he's gonna puff out his chest now. And then said she's not going. He informed me that she already accepted the invitation. Bitch, he's not afraid of you.
Jesus.
You got two options:
Wow.
either punch him in the nose
Oh no.
or slap him in the face like a bitch. Or walk off with your tail between your legs. Those are the only two options.
Yep.
This is a life decision. This is a path of there's no middle ground here. You're either in or you're out.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? It's like you're in prison and somebody wants to break you in for the night. You're either going to punch him in the face and take your licking, or you're going to lube up and brace yourself. What's it going to be?
My official advice is to not commit assault.
They're definitely fighting words,
In
though.
the face, if
Yeah.
she's gonna walk away with him anyways.
I'd give him my
True.
card. I would defend him in this one. If he punched him in the face under those grounds, I would officially, as a lawyer, claim self-defense.
Because the guy touched him on the shoulder.
That was an act of aggression, and he didn't know if he was about to get choked out. He didn't know if he was about to get punched in the face. We live in a world where MMA is a common thing and people know how to fight better than ever. They're more well-versed in jiu-jitsu than they've ever been. This is not like the 1980s where people are trying to crane kick. His life was in danger. And so he acted accordingly. He busted him in the nose and the off chance that he might be choked to unconsciousness. Your Honor, this is pure self-defense. You cannot charge him with this. Give him my card. Give him my card
all
right now.
because he touched him on the shoulder.
Yeah, touch my bitch. I gotta stop saying the B word. Do not ever touch my shoulder. Dominic, am I wrong in this one? Dominic cosigns. Men, are you guys with me on this? Or are we still going with the no assault defense?
Oh.
And
Go
Bruce is
ahead.
like,
Go ahead, Bruce.
I have too many assets to risk an assault charge in my life.
you got to put yourself in the mind of a 24-year-old
this
that doesn't
kid-
have nothing but a 1997 Toyota Acura.
Yeah, that's maybe a different situation.
All right, so I feel like war has been declared. So if he's not going to do what I just suggested, then he might as well just take his L and just assume that he's broken up now. That would be my advice to this young man. Jocelyn agrees.
Yep.
Ness,
I agree.
okay. Men, are we?
42 a.m. I haven't even finished the post yet.
I forget that Brad is not with us anymore. In the chat, not in life. He's still with us, but
Joe drops this lady off at 5:42 a.m.
oh, let us
Oh
continue.
my God.
Okay, so
Oh my
I
God.
texted Ann immediately to ask where she was. She responded, "Sorry, on the way to Joe's place. Dude, it's over, man.
It's over.
I'll see you tomorrow. Love you." She's going to come home with semen in her belly. I don't know what to tell you, buddy. What do you want, man?
Fake twins.
Oh, I asked if she knew I wasn't invited, and then she left me. She left me on red.
Yikes.
Texts after
Oh.
that were all ignored. I drove home
Not
furious.
good.
Says everything.
This is how the villain in that one movie was created. We're creating a villain in real time. We're literally creating the Joker.
Oh boy.
I stayed up all night. Finally, Ann walked in the door at 5:42, probably walking funny. I know because I was
He's
by
at
the window.
watching
This guy. Oh no.
This poor
through the
guy.
blinds.
The binoculars out.
As men, could we give this guy a group hug, man? I feel
Yeah.
like he needs one.
Oh,
This is not a question of whether or not he took the L. This is like, this guy has been destroyed and abused and mutilated. He needs support from
He
the
needs
guys,
the
man.
hug.
Well,
Get his ass in the gym, take
as
a
a
protein
throwback,
shake.
after he drove home, instead of waiting for her to show up, he should have started taking
Throwing-
the TVs off the mounts of the walls. To take
Just all the
and putting
TVs
parental
away.
controls.
Wow, not
I
even
hear-
okay.
I hear
Here's
taking
my
all the
perspective,
TVs
man.
away is the way to do it.
Yeah.
My perspective is this: if he wasn't willing to punch the guy in the face right then and there when he slapped him in the back,
Yeah.
then don't get mad at anybody else. Just leave. You took the L. You had a chance to defend your own honor and you failed. So take the L, move on, and learn from your mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go start breaking shit on account of you're mad now because you got your girlfriend stolen.
Mm-hmm.
Shit happens. We learn, we live, and we learn. And so get your ass in the gym, get yourself on a diet. I would not recommend drug consumption, but move on, man. It's over. Ready yourself for the next opportunity. And by the way, you're only 24. What are you going to do? You're not marrying this girl. And so at some point in your 30s, take the next 6 years to sow your wild oats, learn some things about yourselves, gain some confidence, become the lion that I spoke about at the beginning of the show, and try again. Everybody takes an L, even me. I took the L. I took the L throughout last high school. I was just a stupid kid trying to talk to girls, man. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I've taken L's. Every guy has taken losses. Nobody's undefeated. Nobody's even undefeated. Not even Jason Momoa. I promise you that one. I don't know, guys. Do you co-sign or am I off?
You're not wrong.
All right. Why do I feel like
to the end?
I feel like
We gotta get to the end.
Yeah, what happened?
the Shawshank Redemption background is playing in my head. Okay, so I drove home furious. I stayed up all night. So Hen walks in the door at 5:42 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
As I added the walking funny part. I was window watching. Recognized the car as Joe's,
Oof.
and the driver is Joe. Nobody else was in the car, and waved to him cutely and laughed and said something. At something he said. Anna came inside and acted surprised to still see me up. At that point, I flatly told her that we were done. And she had the rest of the day to move out. Anna was at first confused with me. And then I told her that she can just move in with Joe.
Might as well.
He's awfully passive aggressive.
Yeah.
She rolled her eyes, said nothing happened. She gave me this spiel about my insecurities and imagination. Of course she did. I said it didn't matter after this back and forward arguing, and finally relented and sarcastically thanked me for wasting the best years of her life. What the fuck?
She's so mean.
Sunk cost fallacy. That's not a valid argument.
Jocelyn, could I just ask you, what's the move if you just got caught cheating on your boyfriend?
Like, if I just got caught
Are you going to
cheating-
try to gaslight him and say, like, you wasted the best years of my life by being a dick
No.
and your insecurities? Ness, what do you think, man?
No,
Is that the move?
you just-
No. I'd like to think I'm better than that,
Nobody's better than human nature.
but I'd like to think so.
Human nature is to gaslight.
someone that is very toxic will do that and just put
Yeah.
the blame on them in turn. And
Somebody that's not trained properly,
yeah, of course.
that has no home training is what I mean. Okay, so Anne finally moved out yesterday. It was pretty dramatic. She said that she loved me, that I was throwing away everything over a party. Did I do her wrong here? I guess I feel like I'm getting gaslighted. The only saving grace would be if, like, the guy was flamboyantly gay and obviously gay and not interested in women. Other than that, I don't see any scenario where he didn't rail her that night
Yeah.
and
Or at least
send her
try
home
to.
with Uber, or at least try.
Yeah.
Maybe they just talked about their
Well,
feelings all night, you know?
Here's the thing. Even if literally nothing happened, she is
It's-
supposed to be this guy's partner.
It's
Yeah.
the disrespect.
It's
And they
disrespect.
didn't communicate about going to this party or not. She didn't try to get him an invite to this after party. She didn't text with him at all.
She straight
between
ignored him.
The end of the night and 5 a.m. Those
Yeah.
things alone are worth, like, probably breaking up over.
Let me tell you what sober Omar would have done. And then I'll tell you what drunk Omar would have done. I think that sober Omar would have left with that lady's sister. Or tried to anyway.
Wait, which
I
one?
think that-
Sober?
Yeah, that's sober?
You know,
So instead of leaving the party furious, you would have been like, I'm going to find my own.
I would have left with
after party.
somebody. I'm leaving with somebody.
I'm going to find
Okay.
my own
Fuck it.
after party.
Fuck it. I'll have an after party too. We're all having after parties tonight. Is that what we're doing? I'll find my own after party. Drunk Omar would have guillotined that fucking guy to unconsciousness.
Oh,
Or tried to. I'm not saying I would have succeeded. I would have tried to. And it either would have worked out or it wouldn't have. But I would have not have gone down like that, man. And then if I took the L, I would have took the L and try to have an after party anyway with possibly with a black eye or bloodied from my defeat. I don't know.
Would you be waiting at home for her, or would you just leave?
No,
Yeah,
man.
would you stay up window watching?
There's no waiting at home. You guys just need to move on from that. If it went down like that, Jesus. Bruce, what would you do?
Yeah.
Spend those 5 hours putting all her stuff in the hallway.
Yeah. I wouldn't even give myself the chance to hear
'Cause I
that.
guess
And then ghosted her ass, right?
he had her move
Yeah.
out. So he wasn't moving out. So the TV thing, if he was going to move out, I'd say take all the TVs.
Yeah.
Take all the TVs.
Ness, what would you have done
I would, oh man.
if your girlfriend
mean-
did that to you? What would you have done?
See, that a scenario happened to me like that when I was in my early 20s, and I just, oh God, it was so painful. I was on this guy. I was in the position of this guy.
Ooh.
And I knew what was happening, but the relationship was going
Yeah.
way down, and I kind of just accepted it, and I was just like, I'm done. I'm out of here. But when I was that young, I let this person try to, convince me that other things happened than what actually happened. But then after
The
time,
gaslighting,
I
right?
was just-
Yeah.
yeah, the gaslighting is just like, no, you're crazy for thinking that actually happened.
You're
I'm like,
insecure.
no. Yeah.
All of these
So,
crazy
no.
accusations. I don't understand it. You don't trust
Yeah.
me.
You don't trust me.
Let me see your
What do you
phone then,
mean?
bitch. Fuck
Yeah,
you.
Exactly. And it was crazy because this is when we used to partners sharing locations. I also want to talk about that.
Never ever share your location. Come on, man.
Wait, what's wrong with
See?
sharing the locations?
Okay, could I explain?
See?
Yeah.
Could I explain?
Yeah, let's get on that.
Yeah.
All right. There's so many ways to throw your location. Even if you were to share your location, you're going to have a false sense of confidence in that. If somebody doesn't want you to know where they're at, they will fake it.
Yeah, there's
And
always a
so
way around it.
to play into that ground, not only are you going to make that person unnecessarily feel confined to the point where they feel like they need to deceive you to have some modicum of freedom where they don't feel like they're in a caged bird, but you're not going to know for sure if it's legit anyway, because you could literally download an app that
true.
says fake your GPS location. I know that because I wanted to watch the Dodger games without being blacked out in LA. And it's like, oh, well then I guess my VPN is in fucking Montana then. How about that? Let me see the Dodger game, bitch. Stupid ass
see,
rules.
I don't-
So it's a false sense of security that
Yes.
comes with it. Yeah.
Yes. What do you think you're doing from that? Just leave it alone. You either trust them or you don't. If they're going to cheat, they're going to cheat.
That's true.
And do not rely on technology to light the path for you towards enlightenment. Dominic, you're awfully quiet in all of this. I'm curious to know what Dominic would do if somebody slapped him on the shoulder and say, hey, your bitch is now my bitch. She's invited, but you're not.
In different words, yeah.
Lots of luck to you, buddy. Take the L. What would you do, man?
It's fighting words.
You're either going to fight or you're going to go home with your tail between your legs and declare yourself, God damn, they got me today. I am a bitch. I have to do better. I need to rehabilitate myself. Get my ass in the gym. Get yourself some creatine, some protein shakes. Get yourself some beef sticks. Go listen to David Goggins or Jocko Willink or somebody. Go listen to the Joe Rogan podcast and figure out your life because you just failed spectacularly. Am I being too masculine? Am I being toxically masculine right now?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so.
I'm often accused of being that.
Well, the guy did break up with her, and so that's better than
Yeah.
But he did it in
They're
kind of
back.
he did it in kind of a feminine way.
He
though.
should have done it in the moment, or at least address it in the moment.
I feel like the move would have been to find somebody else to take home.
That too. That's one
Or
way
at least
to deal
try
with
to take somebody else.
Yeah.
I'm not look, the odds are he's not going to be successful, but on the off chance that he is, even if it's a slump buster, do y'all know what slump busters are?
I don't know what that is.
Dominic knows what it is.
it. What is it?
It's like you're like the last. Everybody else has been situated for the night, and you're sitting there at the bar, and there's like this one unattractive
There's a
lady.
name for that.
When
Oh.
there's slim pickings, you just
Yeah,
gotta,
it's like, you know what?
Oh boy.
You will do. For tonight, I pick you. And then, you know, you go and you get it out of your system, and you're
a
done.
sober 2. Oh no, what is it? A drunk 10, but a sober 2.
There's no drunk
Yikes.
10s, man. They're all drunk 7s.
Oh,
Come on now. They're always drunk 7s
Drunk
and
7.
sober 2s or 4s or something. 5s, maybe 6. A law school
Miguel said
7.
that's the last call, girl.
yeah.
That is
What's
the
up,
last-
Miguel? I didn't even
last
know Miguel
call,
was in the
girl.
chat, man. I was.
What was it? Slapbuster? Slumpabuster?
I'm sorry, Pam. I gotta watch my language with Pam. Like she's like my mom. She's always like,
Yeah, because
"I'm so sorry, Star."
You're breaking the slump.
Yeah, I don't
It's
mean
like a
to,
rebound.
Star.
It's like a
Yeah.
rebound or something.
I will try to do better. I admit my follies. Okay, so could we just agree that this guy is not the a-hole for wanting to get to break up with his girlfriend?
Not the a-hole.
Okay,
No, he should have
Um,
just moved out.
Yep.
is that not like the worst example of somebody taking like the biggest L you've ever seen?
Yeah.
Jesus,
You should have dumped
That's
all their
as-
stuff on the lawn.
that is as
Throw
bad as it
everything
gets,
out,
man. How
yeah.
do you even recover from that? You literally got to go turn into the Joker or the Penguin or somebody or Spider-Man. That's rough. Do you got any of you guys have a story like that where you
be
you
fine.
took the L that bad?
Mm,
I've never taken the L that bad.
no.
But if I did, I feel like I would have fought. I'd like to think that I would have fought. And
But
if I,
also at
you know,
time, you would like to what extent do you fight? Because you also don't want
to the
be
death.
someone that
What do you
would-
mean?
To the
that
death?
would just okay, that's crazy. But you
It's a little
don't.
extreme.
It is crazy.
You're fighting
Oh, no.
to someone that would disrespect you to your face, have someone else disrespect you. Like,
Yeah.
what are you fighting for at that
You're not
point?
fighting for something good.
Could I explain?
Yeah.
Could I just
Are
tell
you just
from my
sticking up for yourself? And just
mean, you
puffing
would
out your
have to.
chest?
let me just explain from my perspective, okay?
Okay.
For a guy that has competed, you know, in competition, wrestling, boxing, whatever, if something like that happens as a child, as a teenager, as a 22-year-old, as a 24-year-old, I would take it as an affront to my masculinity. And if I didn't fight, I would not be able to live with myself. I could take the loss. I just don't think I'm going to lose. I might lose. I could accept it if I lose, but it would be worse.
You're saying Joe is insulting your masculinity?
No, like
Sorry?
whoever the guy's slapping the guy, I'm putting myself in this guy's shoes. Like he says,
Wait,
hey, your
this guy
girl's coming with
Joe.
me. Like,
So
Bitch.
you're the guy in this story, and Joe slaps you on the shoulder. You're saying
Yeah.
you take that as an affront?
he's
to your
getting
men-
throat chopped and guillotined.
Why do you care what Joe thinks about you?
Well, it wouldn't be so much that what his thoughts are of me. It's the point that he slapped me on the back and mentioned the girl that I was with. That's like in a split second, automatic fighting words. Like Dominic said, that's grounds for a throat chop and a guillotine. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? If I wouldn't perform those specific moves within a second, I would consider myself a failure. Back then, I'm not saying right now. Right now, I got too much. I'm like you, Bruce. I got too many assets.
Yeah.
I can't go to jail, man.
I feel like I need to go to law school just to defend young drunk Omar.
So
Young
you're
drunk
saying
Omar was not
of your age now, single man of your age. What is the acceptable response?
Yeah.
Oh, if it was like in his 40s,
Yeah. Like,
I go bang
Yeah.
your sister, her best friend. I would.
There you go.
Hey, no harm, no foul, man. Go pick who you want. I'll pick who I want. But you're in your 40s, man. You lived long enough. It's not that big of a deal, man. What are we doing?
Yeah.
I'm gonna defend your honor. Fuck off. I'm like 45. Or I'm 45. I'm like 44 with kids. Let's just say I didn't have kids. I'm like 40. I'm a grown ass man. I don't got time for this shit. I ain't going to jail over that. I'm just gonna find another one. I feel like Bruce would be the same way. What do you think, Bruce? What would you do at 49?
If I was in this situation,
Somebody slapped you on the back. Hey, I'm taking Ann and have fun tonight. Here's some kettle corn.
oh,
Enjoy yourself.
Ooh, that would be rough. Yeah, and if my girlfriend didn't respond to these texts and she just disappeared with some guy, yeah, that'd be it. It'd be over. I think I'd be dumping all her stuff on the lawn.
Yeah, but would you be all that concerned about it? Would it be like, okay, I'm gonna go I'll go find somebody. If it's a slump buster, it's a slump buster.
I mean, I don't. Why do I need to? Well, why is my self-worth tied to going home with my?
Oh, it's not. It's
date
not.
or some other date. Like
It's not so much. I'm not thinking about it like that. I'm thinking
Yeah.
about it in terms of a quid pro quo, tit for tats. But it's an immature
No.
way to think about it,
I
and
mean,
I
I
fully
look at
admit it.
situations and I'm like, what are the things that are under my control? Like, if I'm in a place I don't want to be, I can remove myself from that place, right? If I have a decision I can make that has an effect, I can think about it. If there are no decisions that I can influence, then it's not my problem.
I feel like if it was a situation that I couldn't control like that, I just would not concern myself with whoever that was because I probably wasn't in it for the long haul anyway. If he wants to go off with Aquaman, go for it, man.
Yeah.
Live your life. Live your life. Because she's probably older too. Hey, what do I give a shit? Dodged a bullet there. I feel like if I was dating in my 40s, I wouldn't be dating for marriage anyway. So, hey, have fun. I guess that would be my take in my 40s. In my 20s, it would be a direct affront on my manhood. I would feel obligated to respond. And if I didn't respond, I would feel bad about myself. What do you think, Dominic? In what world at 20, you're 25, right? In what world at 25 would you let somebody slap your back and walk off with your girl without at least a physical confrontation and feel good about yourself at the end of the day? Right. That's a young man thing. That is a young man thing.
Maybe.
I'm looking at myself at 25 in that situation. That's what I would do. At 40, I wouldn't give a F.
I feel like I would probably verbally roast the hell out of it. I would go the stand-up comedy route. Don't fuck with
Yeah.
the guy with the microphone because you won't win.
Oh, I could see Bruce doing that. Hey, Jocelyn, what would you do if some lady just said, hey, I'm going home with your man. Here's some fake eyelashes as a consolation prize.
You know what? If that's what he wants to do, I'm walking away.
Would you fight for your man's honor
Actually, I would not.
or your own?
I don't think men deserve that.
You're right. They really don't. Do not fight over a man.
No,
Ever.
I would not.
Ever.
If that's what he wants to do, his prerogative, not mine.
Pam says she has a great story from her 19-year-old self. Send her a link, Dominic. If she wants to jump in, she's more than welcome. Pam has earned her stripes. All right. So this guy took an L. I think should we move on to another? And by the way, hey Bruce, what's your time frame like?
You're asking the retired guy.
I know, man. I'm so jealous of you.
I think
Fucking
I'm free.
Bruce.
I'm free until the Packers play on Sunday.
What about you, Ness?
I got time.
All right.
I'm gonna. Yeah.
We'll go for another 30 until 2 p.m. and then we'll call it a show. So let's do another one. Let's do another one. Y'all want to talk about a divorce party? Or do you guys want to talk about am I the asshole for not buying my fiance's brother an expensive wedding gift? Or do we want to talk, you know what? We're not doing that one. Let's talk about this one. How about that? Executive decisions for efficiency. All right, here we go. So, the person wants to know, am I the asshole for hosting a divorce party? Have any of y'all ever been to a divorce party?
No, but they sound like fun.
I've been invited to a bunch of them,
Sounds great.
Have you
mostly
really?
from my male clients.
Oh,
I remember I divorced this one kid. He was like 24 years old. I was like, and he was down on himself. I'm like, bitch, you're like 24.
Your life just got started.
You own a business. You're single now. You are like at the upper echelon of men and you're single and you're 24 and you have the income to go travel. Fucking travel. I'm sorry, Pam. Go travel. Go to Europe. Go have a good time. Have a cigar. Me and him had a cigar in the parking lot of the courtroom after his divorce was finalized.
wow.
I think I gave him a Romeo and Juliet's. I'm pretty sure I had a Camacho. Series O.
Wait, so have you been to a divorce party?
No.
Oh.
No.
I wanted to hear how it went.
He's
Yeah.
never, ever, ever.
Is the idea you have a party when the final paperwork is done? Is that what it is? Like, what is it?
Yeah, when you finalize the judgment, like the judge signs the judgment, you guys get officially divorced. Then you're all are single people now. Go have a party.
Okay.
Sabrina asked, Omar, can you give me a divorce if I live in Central California? F&A, I can. Not only can I give you advice, I could represent you in Central California.
Oh.
You just have to pay for the airfare. I'm down. Central California, would that be considered like a Bakersfield?
I would think so, yeah.
I don't know. But yes, I can is the answer to your question.
Let's start the GoFundMe for that.
I don't know who Sabrina is, Stephanie. But she's welcome to join too. To the divorce party anyway. What are we talking about? Okay, so after almost a year, my divorce proceedings got finalized. I was happy that it was finally over. My ex-wife had cheated on me and had an emotional affair, and that was the reason of the divorce. So we also have a daughter who's 14, and she knows everything that happened. All right. Generally, in these divorces, if the kids are over like 13, if they're basically in high school, they're going to be fine, man. If you're all hanging around for the kids, just get divorced. They'll be fine. They'll be fine. So I hosted a party the day my proceedings were finalized, and I invited a couple of my friends and my sister over. My daughter was in the house, too, and she seemed to be having a good time. We had nice food, drinks, dancing, karaoke night, and it was a good atmosphere. My sister also recommended we could burn the wedding photos I had at my wife's gifts, and it was a great suggestion. We even cooked s'mores over the fire. Well, that's a recipe for cancer.
Wow.
Jesus.
Yeah.
All of the plastics you're inhaling, that's a terrible idea.
Yeah, don't do that.
The hell is wrong with you?
Okay, yeah.
Oh.
People watching this, don't make food over burning non-wood or non-charcoal items.
That's the most retarded thing I've read in one of these shows in a long time.
Oh, don't do that.
I hope you don't have throat cancer or something. The next week, however, my ex-wife called and asked why I had done that. I guess my initial question is, why is it any of her business? And that she felt degraded and humiliated, especially since we did it in front of our daughter. Oh, that's fucked up, man. Why would you do that in front of your kid?
Yeah.
All right, I'm on her side already. I told her our daughter was unaffected by it, and in fact, she seemed to enjoy participating and throwing away the gifts in the fire. I told my ex-wife her issues and her issues, and not to involve me in them anymore. What was I the asshole? Could I give the dorky ass lawyer answer first?
Yes.
That is parental alienation of the highest order, of the first degree. The fact that you're burning wedding photos of your child's mother, and expecting anything good to come of it, or like it's like no big deal, is bullshit.
Well, here's the thing. From a legal perspective, if their judgment is done, are there any negative repercussions from that?
Child custody and visitation, parental alienation, loss of custody. But the fact that this child is older,
14.
yeah, it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, but just from a moral standpoint, that's a shitty thing to do. Like,
Yeah, I
no
was
matter
kinda
what you think
shocked
of,
Like up to the burning the photos, I was kind of like, whatever, this is fine, I guess.
yeah, we have a party, whatever, fine. But I was even good with burning the photos. If you need to do that, then do it, I guess.
Well, maybe do it by yourself.
Yeah, but bring the kid into it? What is that about?
Yeah.
Like instead of in front of your 14-year-old.
It's like a lack of self-awareness. I have severe questions about that. Just as a general human being, it's a shitty thing to do. Imagine if like you're like a 14-year-old kid and your mom is burning wedding photos of your dad. Like, what are you supposed to do with that information? How are you supposed to process that? You're in the midst of puberty, like intense puberty. You might have not even gotten your period yet, Bruce.
What? I'm sure I have. Haven't I? I don't know.
I don't know. You might still be having wet dreams for all I know. If
boy.
that's I guess, is that the equivalent to like having your menstrual?
What?
What are we talking about right
I don't think
That is
so.
not the equivalent.
No, it's not even similar.
Not even
I
close.
think
Not even
you have
remote.
to figure out like where the moon went and wonder if it's making you crazy, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. Am I out of bounds? Hey, what is it getting your menstrual like as a young prepubescent child? I watched a TikTok. The reason I'm asking is I watched a TikTok of guys that were going through simulated menstrual cramps.
Where did Brad go? I need Brad.
I thought those were like pregnancy contractions or something.
No, they might have been, but they were advertised as menstrual cramps, and the guys were like all curling up, like, like hemming and hawing, and
But when they do the woman, they're just like, yeah.
yeah, and then the comments were like, yeah, now imagine that, and now you got to cook and clean and expect to put out for your husband, and it's like, Jesus, that sounds terrible.
Isn't there a study that women have a higher pain tolerance?
Yes, there is. I think for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Y'all got to give birth children and have menstrual cramps.
Yeah.
I think that once we hit 20K, we'll have Omar do it on stream.
Oh,
I will 100% do it.
That would be
fun.
great.
I will go through menstrual cramps
Yeah.
when we hit 20K.
Then we can go to the max.
I can tell you this in pure confidence. Whenever I get a cold, I
He's a big.
I
baby.
declare that I'm dying.
You're one of those?
Hey, what's wrong with you? I don't know. I'm gonna die soon. I'm dying. I'm dead. You write my will. Tell the girls I love them.
But here's the thing, Omar. Are you just saying you don't feel good, or do you complain about it and make it everybody else's problem?
No, I do not make it. But if you ask me how I'm doing, I'm fucking dying.
Yeah. So I feel like it's fair if somebody asks you how you are and you have a cold or flu, and you're like, I feel like shit.
Yeah.
Like that's not being a wimp or something. Like you're just being honest.
I'll tell you what,
if
man. I'm
you-
not trying to put my problems in
Yeah.
anybody. I'm just gonna say, oh, how do you feel? I feel like I'm gonna die.
Oh, you got a man cold.
Then more would be like, you're such a fucking baby.
We got a
He's like,
couple
yeah.
sniffles.
Now, if you sort of overreact or something, or you play it up, I mean, then that's.
I don't
another
ask for
story.
nothing, man. I just want to be
Yeah.
left in peace. Like I'm
Yeah.
gonna die soon. Just leave me be.
Yeah. Like,
Let me go in peace.
yeah.
The man
If you
cold.
don't feel
F.
good, and someone asks you, and you tell them you don't feel good, and then you just go about your business trying to.
Could I please play Madden uninterrupted, please?
Yeah.
I got to do
See,
my
that's
draft.
What it really is. That's
That's what it is.
really
That's what it is.
Oh dear.
Hey, Bruce. Now that you're retired, are you playing Madden?
I feel like if you're well enough to play Madden, you're well enough to do your homework. Omar.
No,
Come
fuck
on.
that. No, not even the same thing.
Now
Because
we're getting. Mhm.
All right.
Now we're getting into taking advantage of it. I think.
all right. So could we agree that this guy's the asshole? Yes.
What happened? Yeah, I think. You
Yeah.
know, I think burning the wedding photos
In front of your daughter is a shitty thing to do.
It's very excessive.
Also,
Yeah.
I
Don't
think
involve the kids.
I think the absolute best thing he could have done is maybe have the party when his daughter's not around.
Yeah. Why is he having it
Like,
while
okay,
his
have the
daughter's
party.
with him?
Have the party, but not when your daughter's around.
Miguel says, just drink a bottle of Dayquil and quit being a sissy. No, fuck you. Shit hurts. Leave me alone. I'm like sluggish and like my head hurts. And I'm tired all the time. Just leave me alone.
That's
Just
why
leave
you
me
have to
alone.
turn off the Xbox and get some rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could I like play the Xbox until I fall asleep and then I'll be
No.
cool?
No.
Because you feel like you're dying, you better be trying to sleep or something, rest.
No, my brain requires that I'm doing something else until I fall asleep and then I'm good.
You can watch Netflix. That's it.
Fuck that. I
I
don't
love
want to
it.
watch like The Perfect Couple or whatever
The Bachelor.
disinterested wives are watching
Love
nowadays.
is blind.
Love is blind.
What
yeah.
is the show that disinterested wives are watching nowadays?
What?
You wouldn't know.
Love is
Bruce is like,
blind.
huh?
There's
What is the woman
um,
show right? What is the menstrual woman show going on right now?
What?
There's
It
the
used to
Secret
be
Lives
this-
of Mormon Wives.
Oh, yeah.
That
I've been
everyone-
seeing that on TikTok.
What is that? It used to be the show This Is Us, and then it was like
that
The
was a
Perfect
good one.
Couple or something.
Oh, you're talking about dramas?
I don't know. Whatever women watch,
Omar,
man.
do you ever watch Dawson's Creek?
Shit, I've hated that show since the '90s, sir. It's like,
Well-
what is this even about?
Yeah. Well, Pacey from Dawson's Creek is on a new show where he's a doctor on a cruise ship. It's like House
that
meets Love Boat.
House meets. Do they have a midget?
Well, I don't know. No, that's Fantasy Island, dude.
Oh, that's not the Love Boat.
No, Fantasy Island was on after the Love Boat.
There was not a
That's
midget
fine.
on the Love Boat. That guy wasn't on the Love Boat.
No, he was on Fantasy Island.
I'm so mistaken.
Yeah.
I've been confusing these shows for 40 years now. I love that guy, man. The little guy with his suit, with his white suit.
Oh, geez. Anyway, Pacey has a new show. That's probably it. That's the point.
I guess the new midget now would be Willow, right?
What?
Willow, y'all watch that movie, the Willow
From the 90s.
from the 80s.
Well, or 89 or...
Ness, you know about Willow, don't you? Who's that guy? Okay, do we need to go like the Dragon Show, the midget from? Is it
From
fashionable to say midget
1988?
anymore? Or should I say little
Oh,
people?
my God.
You think
What
I'm
are we
gonna know his
doing
name
right now?
from
Game of Thrones.
1988?
That's a different
Game
guy.
of Thrones.
That's a different guy.
Yeah, he's I love that guy. I love that little dude.
Oh.
He was banging that prostitute, and then his dad stole her, and then he
Oh, no.
shot his dad with a crossbow
What?
while he was taking
in
a
the
dump.
show. I'm like,
In the
okay. Not in real life. Yes. Tyrion Lannister.
Yes.
Tyrion Lannister. We always play our debts. Fucking
Your
asshole.
privilege.
Good for you. What is that about?
Peter Dinklage, yeah.
Did I ask for your ledger, sir? I don't know, man. You know who I liked on that show? I liked the guy that ate chickens. What was the guy's name? Who was the guy that ate chickens? I'm gonna
Hodor?
eat every fucking chicken in the town.
What?
He was the guy that called people a cunt. All the sarcasm. I'm so sorry. I know you hate that word. Sarcasm is like my mom. She's my mom. She's my secondary mom. I got my real mom. She really hates when I curse on the show. But sarcasm is like this. She's like my mom's backup. All right, I got to redirect this show, man. What are we doing right now? Yes, this guy's an asshole. Let's move on.
Yeah.
How about this one? This is one for the ladies. For the ladies. What am I, like the freaking love line over here?
Yes.
This guy was, let me share my screen. I'm having too much fun.
89.9 WOMR.
This is a 92.3 love line with Dr. Drew and the other fucking guy that we never mind. I should have been on FM radio on the 90s, man.
Yeah.
All right, let me make sure. Walking out of the dinner. Okay, let's do this one. Am I the asshole for walking out of dinner after my boyfriend humiliated me in front of his family over my cooking?
Oh, dear.
This is a good one. I feel like I want to defend the guy already. I feel like the woman is overreacting. But
Just
I'm going
based
to let
on
her
the
tell her
title?
story.
Just
Based on-
based on the title alone?
This is
I'm
my
not.
initial impression.
That's because
could've-
he talks shit on Marty's
Yeah.
cooking.
He
up
could have said
on every
something
show.
horrible. We don't know.
My
yet.
wife seasons food like a poor person.
Oh, boy. We've heard this before.
See, that's why he's defending it.
It's like, oh, I can't put too much salt. It's like $1.99. Season the food. What does it need? Does it need salt? Does it need pepper? Oregano, cayenne pepper? Season that shit. I could buy more.
Omar, when you brush your teeth, do you have one of those tongue scrapers?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure you can still taste things. Your tongue's not like coated with burritos or something.
No, man, I like I like spicy food. I
All right.
embrace my Latin heritage.
Yeah. Very
I'm
good.
just saying, I do not like bland food. Make it taste like something. I have fashioned myself as a wannabe 3-star Michelin star chef. And so when my wife cooks, I expect it to be like seasoned properly. I don't talk shit when it's not seasoned properly. I just give her the advice, hey, we could afford salt and pepper, man. Season that shit.
Look, mom's here.
Oh,
Oh, is
You know
that
what?
Omar's mom? Hi, Omar's mom.
Yep.
did she leave a comment? Did I miss it?
No, she's in the
No,
camera.
she's here in the camera.
Oh, what's up, Mom? Hey, Mom, what you doing? Do y'all realize that my mom was like 60 years old and she looks like that?
Wow.
You
It's
just
good
told
to-
your age on. He just told your age.
Oh, boy. Is she
There's no
single?
mystery. No, my mom
He
is
said, that's
60.
okay. I'm proud.
My
He's proud.
mom is 60 years old. She looks like that. We all got good. Ness, you got good genes, man. What could I tell you?
Yes, thankfully.
Yeah. Hopefully you look like that forever. Mom did for some reason. Mom is like a saint. She's got like that thing where like you cannot deteriorate because of your holy sacraments or whatever.
She's got the angel juice.
Never mind that. What the fuck? are you talking about?
Okay.
All right, this person wants to know,
Oh boy.
where was I at?
Just read the
Oh.
first
We haven't even
paragraph.
started.
We haven't started.
Thank you. Am I sharing my screen?
Yes.
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 Start at the top.
I depend on y'all to keep me on track, man, and y'all are doing a poor job.
We'll start at the top.
All right. So I'm 26. I'm a female. I've been with my boyfriend who's 28 for about a year now. We get along well most of the time, but something happened last weekend that's really been bothering me. I already want to tell her to get over it. We went over his parents' house for dinner, and ever since, things have been awkward. A bit of backstory. So I love cooking. Not a professional by any means, but it's something I'm passionate about and take pride in. Good for you, man. I could appreciate that. My boyfriend knows this, but he's constantly comparing my cooking to his mom's,
Oh boy.
especially when it comes to her lasagna. I've heard about this lasagna more times than I can count. Could I already give my answer?
No, we have to read the whole
No,
thing.
keep
No,
reading.
keep going.
God damn it. All right. I already have opinions, man. I'll continue.
Oh, me too, but
Sure
you
you
have to
do.
hear all the evidence.
I'll hear him out. All right. So before we leave for his parents' house, he makes this offhand comment. Maybe you'll finally learn how to make lasagna properly tonight. Yours could definitely use improvement.
Oh my god.
Dipshit over here lathered in Vaseline for his brows. He probably plucks his eyebrows.
Did David Gingras write that sentence?
That sounds like something Jengris would have said.
Doesn't it?
100%. So I try to laugh it off, but honestly, it hurt my feelings. Still, I brushed it aside because I didn't want to start anything before dinner. I have a real life story to share. As of a couple nights ago.
Oh boy.
So I
What'd
get
you
home.
do?
I get home from work. My wife makes chicken enchiladas. I'm like, oh, delicious. This will be wonderful. Even if it's average, I'm not going to talk shit about it, right? Because I'm thankful that I have food in my belly and it's ready made when I come home from work. So I'm biting into it and I'm like, these are some weird ass jalapenos. The fuck is this? It was bell peppers, man. And then I was like, hey, I asked my wife about it. It's like, what is this green shit? Bell peppers. Who puts bell peppers in the enchiladas? What the fuck is that?
It sounds good to me. I don't know.
And she's like, I don't know. I felt like it would be a good conversation. I've been Mexican all my life, man. There's never been ever put freaking
What-
bell peppers
what
in
else was-
the enchiladas.
What else was in this? Was there chicken? What was in it?
It was perfect enchiladas, man. It was chicken. It was tortillas. It was cheese. It was like hot sauce. And what I
So the
thought
only
was
complaint was
jalapenos.
the bell
Green,
peppers?
the chopped green peppers would go perfect with that.
Yeah, they sound good.
Bell peppers, man.
Yeah, they were good.
No,
Are they
no,
chopped up?
no.
I mean, were they cooked?
Yes,
You gotta
that
chop
sounds
it up.
great.
Oh,
they
then
were
you're fine.
far too. No,
Sounds good to me.
no. Okay, this is where Chef Omar comes out. You cannot put bell peppers
Yeah, you can.
into the oven with melted cheese and chicken and tortillas because it's going to make them mushy. And then they're going to become sweet because you're getting rid of all of the water content. And it's going to, there's a reason why in Mexico, authentic Mexican food does not have bell peppers in the tacos and the enchiladas and the burritos because that is a specific kind of ingredient, man. I got real technical. Okay.
What about
Get that.
fajitas?
I get the physics. Were these enchiladas too wet for you?
I don't give a shit about that. It is simply the bell peppers and the chicken enchiladas. Look, fajitas are cool. Bell peppers go in fajitas. They don't go in the effing enchiladas, man. And so I didn't even talk shit about it. I didn't say anything about it. I ate my food as a dutiful husband. But what I would, but I picked out the bell peppers, and you know what? This is disgusting.
You picked them out.
I did, like a child.
Doesn't sound like a dutiful husband.
I didn't talk shit about it. That's how it was dutiful. So,
Beautiful.
It sounds good to me, but I'm just a moose from Wisconsin.
oh, Bruce, you're so white.
Yeah.
No, man, I don't know. It's just not an ingredient that goes with the enchiladas. Is all. That's all I was saying. That's all I was saying. It is. It's a universal truth. I felt like
I don't know how to cook food without half of it being beige.
it would go fine with like I don't know, like a shepherd's pie. You all want to make a shepherd's pie? Make a shepherd's pie. Put the bell peppers in that. All the ingredients, it goes well together like a chicken pot pie. That works. But enchiladas is a different things. Now
Were there
look,
a lot of bell peppers in these enchiladas, or was it just like sprinkled through it?
there was enough where I was perplexed. I was perplexed at first, like that is an odd tasting jalapeno. You know? It's like,
So if it was jalapenos, you probably would have been okay with it.
it would have been cool, but it was bell peppers.
right.
Like what? And then once I knew it was bell peppers, then I was like, oh, I can't eat this.
Very
I vocalized none of this. This was an internal dialogue that I have with myself,
Oh,
which is what makes me dutiful. That's all. That is all. That is all I want to say, man. I did mention about the bell peppers. It just wasn't a big deal, is all. It was not a big deal.
Look at it this way: you tried something new.
Yeah.
I tried something atrocious. I wouldn't call it new.
Oh boy!
oh.
I mean, it wasn't like Hamburger Helper. It might as well have been, I guess. You've now converted chicken enchiladas to Hamburger Helper.
Oh no!
I guess this requires some ground beef, maybe some MSG.
Now you're being dramatic.
Yeah, I'm being very dramatic, but I recognize that I don't vocalize any of this shit. These are my personal beefs that I don't vocalize. I'm cool with it. I'm not going to make a beef out of that. I'm just saying, if I had bell pepper as an ingredient, I would put it in something else. That is all. And then the ladies will be like, well, why don't you cook for her? Well, I do. And when I do, I don't put no freaking bell peppers in enchiladas. That's all I'm saying. What do you think, Jocelyn? You've been Mexican all your life. Do bell peppers go in the enchiladas? Dominic, you're welcome to chime in at any time.
Look, anytime people cook for me, I'm eating whatever's in front of me. I'm just that kind of person. I do not care what's in it. I will eat it.
All right. All
She's
right.
She's too young to have superfood opinions yet.
No,
Yes,
I mean, I grew
agree.
up Mexican, so I know good food, right? But I know the labor of cooking, and the most respectful thing I can do is just eat what's in front of me.
Okay, that's the respectful
fair.
thing to do.
Yeah.
However, if you're grading the food on its merit and somebody puts green peppers in your effing enchiladas, what would you say?
I would say, wow, I've never seen that before, and then finish my meal anyways.
God damn it, Jocelyn. You're not
It's
helping
kind
me.
of like a stuffed bell pepper.
I was going to say, have you guys ever had
No,
stuffed
that's
bell
chili
peppers?
rellenos,
Sounds
man.
good
That's
to
not
me.
the same thing. But those
No,
have
it's not a
different
chili relleno.
ingredients. No, this cooked differently. Different ingredients. You have the entire bell pepper. The cheese is melted differently. You have different ingredients. You usually have ground beef with an egg, and chicken is not involved at all. It's not called to this party, and tortilla is not even in the equation because the bell pepper takes the place of the tortilla. It's a different look, man.
When would you put bell pepper together with chicken, Omar?
I wouldn't unless I was making a shepherd's pie.
What about it like a pizza?
No.
Like on top, toppings?
But that's a
Fajitas.
personal preference. And I'm saying that you can't. Fajitas would be one.
Fajitas, yeah.
That would be a really good one.
Fajitas
But the
would work.
difference with that is that you don't put the bell peppers in the oven. You lightly grill those, and so they're still kind of crunchy, and so they still retain some of their moisture because bell peppers are one of the few foods that you do not have to reduce the water content in the vegetable to get rid of the acidity because it's a mild vegetable. And so it's delicious that way as a fajita. That's why it doesn't work as an enchilada, because when you do that as an enchilada, now it becomes like this mushy thing. And now it's just gross.
Yes, chef.
Whatever, man. I'm just saying, I've learned from Marco Pierre White. He's a 3-star Michelin chef. He's been guiding me for years.
So
And I trust that man with my life.
in these enchiladas, the bell peppers were super mushy. Is that what you're just saying?
They were mushy and sweet and weird. And look, Bruce, you might have liked it,
I
man.
don't mind sweet. I can understand maybe if it gets too overcooked.
What is your favorite food?
Oh, geez. What? I don't know.
Give me one of your top 5.
Fish and chips.
All right, fish and chips. What
That's
if somebody dumps mayonnaise on your fish?
I think that's a thing people.
yeah. I was gonna say
that
tartar
is-
sauce.
I was gonna, yeah,
yeah,
you're-
like
okay.
half
That's a
mayonnaise.
thing
Okay.
you can do. I don't.
What if somebody tried to make fish and chips with salmon?
Salmon fish and chips. I have had salmon fish and chips.
Sounds good.
It's okay.
Bruce, you're not helping me.
He's like, I've actually had that before.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, salmon. I mean, if you're getting wild caught Alaskan salmon, you can pretty much do anything with it. You can.
That is true. You can make it taste like lobster, honestly.
You can take it to Family Court in Maricopa County. You'll still taste good.
It is delicious. I gotta admit, you can't really do that wrong. Okay, but what if somebody's trying to stuff a freaking bell pepper in your fish and chips? What would you say then?
You just got beef with bell peppers, I think.
Wait, so somebody's sliced up a bell pepper and is it raw?
And fried it
Ooh,
with the fish and chips.
I would eat
Fried it with the fish.
that. Okay.
You'd say like, oh, that's different.
There's like
Not really how this is supposed to go, but I guess.
I don't know. I would eat it. Well, the problem is, I think the problem is, I'm thinking like, if I order food, I'm going to eat it. Like, I don't know. You're talking about you sort of were prepared this food and it just was there.
It
Like
was.
you didn't order enchiladas at a restaurant and they
No.
gave you enchiladas with bell peppers in them.
It was prepared
Yeah.
with love
Yeah.
and blood, sweat, and tears and all. I was thankful for it.
Or risk
Yes.
taking.
But it was not the way that I would have made it, and I would not complain about that because I could have made. Well, then, bitch, make it yourself. You're right. I should have. I have no complaints.
I don't know. If somebody was doing risk taking with fish and chips, I would give it a go.
I would. You know what would sound really good if you tried to make fish and chips as an onion ring with like a slivered onion, caramelized with jalapenos on the bottom. That would be effing delicious. You know what? Super Bowl. I'm experimenting. I'm gonna make that shit.
So what are you
This
doing?
is where the ladies
Basically,
come in the comments and say,
trying
"What
to make
can't you do, Omar?"
You're gonna bread the pieces of fish, but you're gonna
Fish
layer it.
with a sliver of caramelized onion.
This is before you bread it. and
Before I
fry
bread it with some jalapenos wrapped in bacon. Deep
Wait.
fry that shit.
Oh, geez.
Make a cheese sauce with a roux with some mozzarella and dip it in that. Super Bowl food. I'm you know what?
That sounds
I'm
good.
I'm
You're
gonna
trying to kill me,
experiment.
though. That's too
I know. I'm not saying it's healthy, man. I'm just saying it's delicious. I'm just saying it's delicious. Is all. Oh. Teresa S says Omar came to the air show in HB. I'm cooking up a storm. What does that even mean? Come to
to
Oh,
the.
the
that's
air
where mom
show.
just went.
It's
My mom
Huntington
just went to
Beach.
the air show.
Oh, Huntington Beach.
Huntington Beach, yeah.
Yeah.
What is the air show?
You know,
Air show
You
happens.
know, like
airplanes.
planes.
Oh. I would be down, man. I'm making myself hungry right now.
It's a
I
good thing
feel
I'm
like
here to explain all this.
I feel like I want to make what I've just suggested. I'm gonna timestamp this, Dominic, because I want to preserve my recipe. I really want to try this. I'm gonna
Kinda
make it
wanna
happen.
These two powdered malt liquor. Not
Badass Biz, look, onions are not disgusting. Here's what you have to realize. If you don't dispel the acidity in the onions, they're always going to be disgusting if you're not an onion person. If you get rid of the onion, if you get rid of the water content of the onion, you defeat the acidity. If you take it a step further and you caramelize the onion, you bring in the natural sugars in the onion, and then it becomes not just this acidic thing, this harsh thing. It becomes this wonderfully caramelized, sugary thing that complements any kind of savory food you could possibly have. You just haven't had the right onions.
Feels like a cooking show.
I know what you're saying,
I know.
but you're mistaken. I'd love to demonstrate why, but I'm too focused on my experimental
It's
idea.
going to be good with our fish.
Yes,
Omar, you should do a cooking segment.
I have. I did Brad's cooking show.
Yeah.
I made like a 3-star Michelin chef mac and cheese
Yeah.
What makes it 3-star Michelin?
because I said
Fair enough.
it has not been graded by the Michelin organization.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I pretend, it's just
Okay.
delicious is all. All right. So this person, let me get back to, let me
Omar's
stay on
Conor
top.
McGregor of Michelin chefs.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't even know what that means, man. Like the shit talker of cooking or whatever. Is that what we're going with? That's fair. That is fair. All right. So, all right. Bit of backstory. I love cooking. Not a professional, but it's something I'm passionate. What happened, Dominic?
You're past that. You're at the third.
We're in the next paragraph.
All right. So before we leave for his parents' house, he makes this offhand comment. Maybe you'll finally learn how to cook make lasagna properly tonight. Yours could definitely. That's a dickhead thing to say.
Fighting words.
So I try to laugh it off, but honestly, it hurt my feelings. But still, I brush it aside because I didn't want to start anything before dinner. We get to his parents' place, and as expected, his mom's lasagna is the star of the meal. Everyone is raving about. And of course, my boyfriend jumps in to say, "Oh man, this is real lasagna." OP tried making it once, but let's just say there's a reason we're all here eating my mom's tonight. What does OP mean?
That's
The
the
original
original
poster.
poster. The
Why did you
person
say it
who's-
like that? Just goddamn it.
That's how Reddit talks.
Yeah.
All right. Everyone laughed. I felt embarrassed, but kept smiling to avoid making things awkward. Then he kept going, saying that I burned the sauce. I didn't, and that maybe I should just leave lasagna to the experts. His family was cracking up. I sat there, trying not to lose it. It wasn't just a joke to me. It felt like he was putting me down, especially in front of his family. Who am I still trying to make a good impression with? I couldn't handle it anymore, so I excused myself from the table and went to sit in the car. A few minutes later, my boyfriend comes out looking confused, asked why I left. I told him how I was hurt by his comments, and instead of apologizing, he said I was overreacting and that it was just a joke. It's always a bad idea for a man to invalidate a woman's feelings like that. Just by virtue of not being as emotional creatures as women, to invalidate the women's because it wouldn't bother you was a mistake. He said I need to stop being so sensitive and learn to take a joke, especially around his family. Why don't you tell him that he should probably learn how to manscape and stop being so
boy.
disgusting with his personal hygiene. See
Where-
how he feels about it. I'm just going for daggers here. I mean, he's
In front
he's
of
shooting
her
daggers.
family.
I'm
front of
throwing
her
ninja stars.
Because he did this in front of his family, not just
Yeah.
in private.
Yeah, which for a woman is like not just for a woman, for anybody. Like you're trying to make a good impression on the family. It's like the in-laws. You're trying to be a part of the crowd, and you're specifically put on the outside of the circle because your cooking isn't up to par. That's not just a one-dimensional comment that he made. That's 3 dimensions, and I understand why she's upset.
And he made multiple comments.
So I was upset and told him that if he thought embarrassing me in front of his family was funny, maybe he should just date his mom's cooking instead. That is a stupid joke, but I get what you're going for with that.
Yeah.
That is something that, well, it's a stupid comment. I'm not going to denigrate her age. Now, that didn't go over well. He got angry and accused me of ruining the nights.
Wow.
Since then, we've barely spoke, and he's waiting for me to apologize, but I feel like he should be the one apologizing. So now I'm wondering, did I take it too far? Was I being overly sensitive?
Dump
Or
him.
was I right to walk out after being embarrassed like that? Am I the asshole? I don't want to read the update. First thoughts.
She's
I
not
will
the
say
asshole.
she didn't have to walk out. Like, save that for home. Right?
True,
Wait, what?
but at the same
Like, she
time,
didn't have to walk out and let him, like, make him come out and find
she
her
could have
and-
festered in her anger.
But what did she do?
Well,
Just excuse herself, right?
She's in
Yeah.
his relative's home. So it's not her house.
It's not her- yeah.
relative's
Yeah.
house. So for
Yeah.
me, I always look at the situation like if I'm in an uncomfortable situation, I can remove myself from that place
Yeah.
because that is my
Sure.
right.
Yeah.
So I don't blame
true.
her for walking out.
Yeah.
You're right, Bruce.
He is the voice of reason, for a reason. I don't know if it was over the top for the walkout or not. I kind of, if she was feeling hurt, then the best thing might have been to walk out. Because what she can do, start an argument in front of the in-laws.
Yeah, no.
That's the alternative.
Yeah, no.
Just make a huge
Or
scene.
sit there like, and everybody's wondering why she has RBF. What's wrong with you? He just talked about the lasagna. And that would have just made things worse. I just gave a whole example of how my wife made shitty enchiladas on accident because she was experimenting with bell peppers. And I didn't talk shit about it, even though I really didn't like it. I just put them aside. She noticed that I was putting them aside. Had she not noticed that, I wouldn't have said anything and probably just ate my food like Jocelyn said. Because if I wanted it better, I could have made it myself. And that would have been a fair thing to say. If she's cooking for me, who am I to judge, man? Eat the food. Absorb the nutrients and move on with life.
If they were all complimenting the mom's lasagna,
There's nothing wrong with that.
And there's nothing
No.
wrong with that. The problem is when they're all making jokes at her expense
Yeah.
and she's in
Yeah.
their environment
Mhm.
and they're all putting her down.
Guy didn't
It's
have to
not
be such a dick
appropriate.
about it.
Yeah, multiple times too.
How old is this guy? He's 28.
Inappropriate.
Yeah. It's a mistake to approach it the way that he did. It's fine to like your mom's lasagna, but if your wife is sitting there learning how to make your mom's lasagna, then you better, if you're gonna say stuff like that, cook her up a peppercorn steak or something.
Yeah, you have
Cook
to
her
approach
up,
that delicately.
Yeah, I mean, cook for her too, man. Why's it got to be all about her? Why don't you take a crack at it, freaking 3-star culinary Michelin star chef?
Being negative and
Chef.
making jokes at someone's expense is not going to motivate them in any
Yeah.
way.
It's only going to hurt, which is what happened here. So she's not the asshole. I don't know if it's a reason to break up or not. It's a red flag if he knows about this story and he doesn't adjust. So if he continues, look, you could tell him about it, tell him about your feelings, tell him about how it made you feel. If he adjusts and never does it again, he's only 28 years old. He's a dumbass. He's
Should've been
not
a little bit smarter.
he's not, he doesn't have the life experience to know everything, man. He made a poor decision. I don't want to say he's a dumbass. He's not fully formed yet. Sort of he is, but he's learning things. So if he learns that it bothers you, what he did, how he approached it, and he changes, then, we're still cool. But if he ignores your needs and your thoughts and your feelings and he continues to do it, then yeah, that's a red flag. Not marriage material. That's not what good marriages are made out of. That's what I would say. What do you all think?
What is the end of the update? At the
Oh,
end,
I should read the
there was a
update
little
now.
update.
The update was, so first of all, I want to thank everyone for your comments and support. I was not expecting such a huge. Here's the update. After the dinner, things were awkward between my boyfriend and me for a few days. We barely talked, but I knew I could not just let it go. I sat him down and told him how much his comment about my cooking, especially comparing it to his mom's, hurt me. I love cooking. I put a lot of effort into it. So hearing him constantly bring up his mom's lasagna felt like he was saying mine was not good enough. He seemed genuinely surprised and said he did not realize how much it bothered me. He thought he was just teasing. Fair. And I thought, and that I knew he was not serious. I explained that while I can take jokes, this felt different because it happened in front of his family. It made me feel really small. He apologized right away and said he would stop making those comparisons. I could tell he was truly sorry. She made me feel better. All right, so it has a happy ending. So as for his family, I did apologize for walking out, and they were actually really understanding. His mom even mentioned she would love to try my lasagna sometime with no comparisons. I was surprised his mom didn't give him a whack in the face.
Yeah.
The fuck is wrong with you? Talk to her like that. You go apologize. My mom would have said she would have done something like that.
Yep.
But that's our mom. So things have been better since then. My boyfriend has been more thoughtful about how he talks about my cooking, and I feel like we have both learned something from this. It's not perfect, but I feel hopeful about where things are going. Thank you again for all the support. All right, so there's stuff. I guess this goes, look, if you want a successful marriage, if you want to date for the purpose of marrying, it's really important that these disagreements that you all have, you could rationalize them out and work them out with each other to a point of mutual understanding. If it ever becomes about just, look, I demand this from you and you were not that, and fuck that, you need to be better. Sorry, Star, Mom. If it ever becomes about that, like this controlling thing, like you have to meet this standard for him, that's never going to work. But if he's willing to acknowledge your feelings and relationships and sacrifice a little bit of his own opinions for your mental health and the sake of your relationship, then that's a good thing. That's a green flag. And that is what marriage material is. And you guys are old enough where, oh, did I already close out of it? Damn it. How old were they? 28 and 26?
Something like
Yeah,
that.
something
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
that.
something around there.
Yeah. I mean, they're young enough where, look, they're right on the cusp of being too young or just the right age for marriage. I wouldn't recommend that anybody get married prior to 30. And even that's cutting it. If you could wait till 35, then do it. I understand you're pushing the biological clocks there, but Look, the longer you wait, the better it tends to be because of better understanding of self and all, but at least 30. So if he's doing those things, it shows me that he had a preconception of how things would be acceptable to you and how we joked about with you, and he adjusted based on your reaction. That's good.
Yeah.
What do y'all think?
Pretty healthy way to resolve the situation.
Yes.
Definitely.
So, all right, folks.
Communication
going
was the
for,
answer. So I feel like Schnitzel Ninja would have been very proud that they communicated.
Yeah.
Schnitzel is a communicator for sure. She would have liked this one. I don't know how she would have felt about the other one. I was actually really curious about her first one, about the one guy, the guy that stole that dude's girlfriend.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That would have been a good one
That
for her to
was
be on.
wild.
But folks, we've been going for 2.5 hours now. I appreciate y'all for sticking with us. Join us next week when we do another episode of Flad. I might have some impromptu Flad shows late at night. I'm talking about like 9 p.m. midnight because, the wife is going out of town and I ain't going to have nothing better to do. So I might have some impromptu lives. We'll see how it goes. So look forward to that. But until then, I will see you guys next time. Love you all. Bye-bye.